Welcome, everybody, to We Geek Podcast. Today is November 18th, 2019. My name is Adam, and I'm always joined by my good friend Logan.
Hello.
What up, man? Dude, it's been a couple weeks, but how have you been?
It's, getting ready for the busy season.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
The apocalypse is coming. I can see it on the horizon.
Yeah, man. It's going to be swamped.
Yeah. Man,
What's the next big one?
Frozen.
Frozen. Oh, jeez.
I'll tell you what, we were busy this weekend. Like, Ford vs. Ferrari did mad. It was kind of nuts.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, that movie looks great. I actually just watched Frozen the other night. I had someone over. We're like, what do we watch? What do you want to watch? And she loves Frozen, so I was like, all right, we'll put that on. It's so good.
Yeah. I haven't seen it in a while. I'll probably wind up watching it again here in the next, week at some point.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And the music, it's like any classic Disney movie. You maybe haven't heard it for years, but the second it hits, you're like, I know every lyric.
Yeah, every time.
Yeah. It was really good. So yeah, that's right. Frozen comes out this month. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's Thursday.
Do we know what kind of, and I'm sure later on we'll get into all Disney Plus kind of stuff. We'll talk about that. But do we know what kind of deal they have, I guess, with themselves whenever the movie's released on Blu-ray and whatnot? How long it will take for it to hit the service?
I guess that's entirely going to be up to them.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll find out. I would imagine they would still, I imagine it'll be kind of traditional. I wouldn't be surprised if it's, it's the standard, it has to be the standard 3-month theatrical run before Blu-ray. But then probably, I would say they might give it a month before, it's like, cause it's digital and then it's like a week later is Blu-ray and then maybe a month before it's on the service.
Yeah. I was always curious about that because now, Netflix, when they had a lot of the Disney movies, they're probably pushing and paying a lot of money to get it as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
But now that Disney kind of controls their own little output onto streaming, I'm curious what the give and take of that is like, hey, if we get this out earlier, we're going to have more people subscribed, but at the same time, we'll lose out maybe some on the sales on the physical copy. So I'm curious how they're going to, I guess we'll just see. Just kind of wait and see. We'll see the next few months, actually.
Yeah.
See what happens, especially with Maleficent 2 and a few other ones that I imagine are going to head straight to the service after the Blu-ray and whatnot.
Yeah.
I imagine those movies don't have a Netflix deal like, the Last Jedi or something did, or Black Panther.
No, I don't think so, no.
Right. Actually, is Black Panther on the Disney Plus, or is it still on Netflix?
It's still on Netflix. It's still part of the Netflix deal, and you can actually look up Disney Plus. I don't know if you've noticed, has some movies on there with their future release dates.
Right. I saw that with The Last Jedi. Of course, they have the two best Star Wars movie Netflix right now with Solo and The Last Jedi. Arguably, no one would ever say otherwise.
Marvel Studios Black Panther company. Shit.
I'm just kidding. Just kidding. But yeah, no, I noticed on those. Because I was thinking, hey, at some point in time, I do want to watch all the Marvel movies from head to toe, just from back to forth through the whole thing. And I thought, oh yeah, that's right. Like Thor 3, arguably the best Thor, and I'm not joking about that. I love that one. Is on Netflix right now. So you're right. It does have a time. It does have a date there.
Yeah, Black Panther is March 4th, 2020.
Okay.
I'm trying to see what other ones aren't on it. Like Thor. Okay, Thor Ragnarok coming in 3 weeks.
Oh, okay. Yep, and I think Last Jedi is next month too.
Yeah, December 5th for Ragnarok. Yep,
and December 26th for Last Jedi. I get right around the time when the new movie comes out.
Oh, so right after Christmas. There you go.
Yeah, so that's cool. Yeah, cool. But yeah, okay, yeah, Frozen 2. Yeah, Ford vs. Ferrari. I that's the movie that like my dad was like, hey, I want to see that, blah blah blah. Like I had a lot of people telling me that don't usually go to see the movies, or want to pay to go see the movies, are like, yeah, I want to see that. That looks cool.
It's so good.
Yeah,
it's good. It's good. Not just like non-car people will also really enjoy it.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, the cast. Look at the cast on that.
The chemistry that Damon and Bale have is tremendous. They are an absolute perfect match. It's great.
Yeah.
It's so good. And it doesn't get bogged down in, the technical side of everything. You understand, it's the simple premise. They need to make a really great race car.
Yeah.
Okay. everybody can get that, no problem.
Right. John Berthal is phenomenal in it too.
His role is very underplayed in the trailer. He's a much bigger presence in the movie, and he's spot on.
That's good. Yeah, he's in all these big movies that you at first you don't think about him, but oh yeah, he's in that. Like Wolf of Wall Street and stuff like that. Right? It's totally random, but yeah.
It's so weird having, Batman and the Punisher and fake Loki all in the same movie.
Right. That's the thing about Berthal too, is I was afraid that after Walking Dead, like, was he going to be able to make that jump and keep going? And he totally has. He's reinvented himself quite a few times. And that's definitely what you want from an actor.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah, so I definitely want to see that. What about some of the other ones here?
What else? What that we've had, like
the box office? Sorry, we got Ford vs Ferrari that came out and did great
and did really well. Charlie's Angels bombed, unfortunately. But going down the list here,
was Tom Green in this one?
I hope not.
Release the green cut. Just kidding. I'm sorry. I've been watching too much Red Letter Media.
I see.
Apparently, Tom Green has a cut of Freddy Got Fingered. So he already directed it, but he wanted to release a director's cut. So stupid. I'm sorry. Oh man. But actually, we'll get into all that later about the release the Snyder cut. Yeah. That's crazy.
It is. But yeah, we'll talk about that here in a bit. Midway had another decent week. About 8 and 3/4. Charlie's Angels
Midway's by the same guy who did Godzilla, right? And Independence Day?
Yeah, Roland Emmerich.
Gotcha, okay.
Usually when people talk about Emmerich, they try not to say Godzilla first.
Well, yeah, no, I know. But I mean, they're all kind of. It's Independence Day with a lizard.
But Independence Day was good. Godzilla was not so much. Godzilla's the first. Here's the thing. The original Independence Day, because you have to say that because they made a sequel. There we go. The Resurgence is like Godzilla.
I think Independence Day was a fun movie. I loved it as a kid.
Sure,
but I think it's set like a bad. Like all the big blockbuster movies after that were trying to be Independence Day.
Well, and that's the problem though. But there was more to Independence Day than just the action. Yeah, the action was huge, but the characters were at least interesting because you had Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum, and they were in well-written roles.
My favorite part of Independence Day is the dog, though.
Fair.
Yeah, that's the best scene in the whole movie.
That's fair.
And I just remember seeing the explosions for the first time, thinking, "How did they do this?"
Yeah, and those are weird.
Insane.
And a lot of that, the thing that I loved seeing, because I saw a part of a special feature somewhere on all the miniatures that they built, and some of the shots that they used, they basically built the scale model of whatever it was out of graham crackers.
Right. Oh, wow.
And then they either set a match or a lighter or a little torch. They built it up. Like they built it along a wall going up. And they would set whatever little fire at the bottom of it, at the end of the camera, and then would blow the fire through this model.
Oh, wow.
And that would be the kind of shot that they used. And I was like, that's just insane. Like, who thinks of that?
Yeah, no, man, there's, I think no matter how many years go by, some practical effects just so much better.
Oh yeah, practical is always going to look the best because it's real.
Exactly.
That's easy. But and I mean, not to knock CG. We're gonna have CG forever, but
right.
Practical effects are always going to fit better simply because they're actually happening.
Marrying them together and having someone do that in a way, like, for example, the classic one is the T-Rex from Jurassic Park, right?
Yeah, because
to this day that still holds up, and that is insane.
Yeah, because it was part CGI, part animatronic, and it was done crazy well. And I mean, that's something that's been 25 years ago.
Yes, and I think another series that's kind of on the same line, actually, that marries them both beautifully is Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings, yes, indeed.
Yeah, how they did Gandalf and how they did a lot of the cities and the miniatures. Man, if you have those the extended edition box sets with all the behind the scenes stuff, just dive into that and you just see there's so much there where I'm like, I assumed that was CG, but holy crap, that was totally practical. And then you go back and you're like, yeah, that just looks real.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane, man. That's one thing that I think is missing from Disney Plus is a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. I just wish, and that's such a nitpick. Is I wish there was way more behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, because they do have some, but it's not like the full slate of Blu-ray extras and stuff.
Exactly. I hope, and we'll get all to the Disney Plus. Sorry, I'm gonna keep bringing it up for just for a minute, but especially with like the Mandalorian, I hope they do what they did with Game of Thrones, where like at the end of a season, or especially with the last season of Game of Thrones, they were like, hey, this is how we made the season.
Yeah.
Here's an hour of behind the scenes stuff. I would love that.
That would be awesome.
Yes. Oh yeah. Even with like the Jeff Goldblum show, that would be fantastic. Just like all this this cut footage. But yeah. So anyway, sorry.
God. Did they have they released the second episode of Everything yet, or just a couple of things? Everything. Never mind. Okay, answered my question.
Yeah. I mean, I've only seen. I started watching the Imagineer show, which I want to finish.
So good. I love it. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah. What I saw of it, I absolutely loved, but I had to go.
Yeah.
So I couldn't catch the rest of it. And then I was with people I found the Jeff Goldblum show was the perfect introduction to Disney Plus to people who might not be like ready to buy for all the Disney movies or whatnot. And I'm like, well, it also has this weird quirky show with Jeff Goldblum, and we watched it and laughed our asses off at just him exploring everything.
Yeah. Because I would have the same react, and that's what's great. Goldblum's reactions to things are the same as ours would be, which is just like, yes. I'm sorry, what now?
Yes. Oh yeah. He has everything on his sleeve, and the way he's just so quirky. And by the end of that, I watched with a few people. By the end of that first episode, they were like, okay, like I'm sold on this. I thought it was just going to be all the Disney cartoon movies or something, and I'm like, no. They have a lot of other things that they're diving into. And exploring, and this is kind of just one of them. And the Nat Geo, I think, is like everyone's talking about the Disney and the Pixar and the Star Wars and the Marvel. And the Nat Geo feels like it's kind of left out of the conversation, but there's a lot there.
There really is, and I feel like it will. That's going to be exactly that. That's going to be the gateway of like, no. You may not think you want this, but check this stuff out, because people love putting on that kind of stuff. I mean, how many seasons of How It's Made have there been?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much anyone in my family over the age of I'd say 40, that's all they watch is the History Channel and Discovery Channel and Nat Geo, and they just have that on constantly. So yeah, there's a big market for that. And I loved watching that stuff as kids, even when the teacher would come in and roll up the projector and put on Bill Nye or how this is how jellyfishes work and all that. I loved all that stuff. But I think, I don't know, I appreciate that. So, but yeah, the Jeff Goldblum show I thought was really cool. Anyway, we'll talk about Disney Plus. Sorry, I'm getting totally sidetracked. Midway.
Yeah. So Midway had another good week, which was to be expected. It was a drop, but not a terrible one for a second week. I'm pretty sure it's probably still going to wind up being not tremendously successful, because I can't imagine this was cheap to make.
Oh no!
I haven't seen the actual budget, but it's gotta be pricey. But it did, it's
$60 million.
And it's at 35, and it's gonna go. Yeah, it's not gonna make that domestic.
It'd probably have to make twice the amount of that for it to break even, right?
Yeah, give or take. But that's a bummer, because it wasn't bad. Like, it was not a great movie, but it wasn't a bad movie.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen worse. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, Charlie's Angels tanked. Just 8.6 million. That's not what they were hoping for at all. And I haven't seen it. I want to see it just because it's either going to go one of two ways. I'm either going to come out of that going, that wasn't all that bad, or I'm going to come out of it laughing my head off with a couple people because it's just going to be awful. And
I've never had any. I'm not really a fan of Charlie's Angels. I know like they had some comedians in the last few, right? But
the reboot that they did, the last time they tried to do an actual reboot, the first one was meh, and then when they did Full Throttle, it was just a disaster. And that's something that, if you listen to the Script Notes podcast, John August, who's one of the hosts of that, was the screenwriter for the first one. I want to make sure I get this right. He was a writer for the first one, and then they went ahead with the second one, and like they started with him, and then they went a different way, and then it just kind of fell apart, and they brought him back. But it was a thing of like, this ship already sunk.
Yeah.
We're just trying to see if we can drag it to shore, kind of deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Full Throttle was just bad. It was just terrible. But so and I don't know how this is. The problem is there is a market for this kind of movie, but I feel like making it a Charlie's Angels movie had the opposite effect of what they wanted. Like, there are some things. I'll give you a better example. Look at the A-Team movie. The A-Team movie came and went, and it did not lead to anything. It had a great cast, but nothing came of it, because I think there are some things that just nobody wants a modern-ish take of.
Yeah, it's a different time.
Yeah.
And it's not catching on. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, the A-Team, I would have no desire to watch a new A-Team movie, no matter who they have in it. And that stack was cast, too, just like this one. I would just have no desire.
Yeah, no, it's a great cast. But it's...
This is something that would have... I hate to say this, but this is something where we live in an age where streaming is a thing. This is... If they would have made it... And you can make a low-budget Charlie's Angels movie.
Oh, yeah, easy.
Very easy. It doesn't need to... I think it would thrive on something like that. Like... Hey, like, imagine if they were like, oh, yeah, there's a new Charlie's Angel movie out on Netflix this month, or whatever, Amazon Prime. It would do great.
Or make it or here's something crazy. Make it a series like it was before.
Yeah.
Make it
there you go.
Do a 6 or 8 episode little series and test the waters that way, instead of sinking tens of millions of dollars into trying to start a film franchise.
Yeah.
Based on something that didn't work the last time they tried.
And that's the thing, and I hate to say this, but that's it. We do want more people going into the theater, but people are going to pay the theater prices for big blockbuster movies or movies that are very different and new and, like, I guess more indie, something that you haven't seen before. And Charlie's Angels is neither of those.
Yeah.
Right? Like, when I think of it more of a middle beer to movie, and unfortunately, those kind of movies are going to the wayside. In the theater, at least. It sucks, but I guess I'm saying I'm not surprised.
No, and I'm not either. It's another one of those. And here's the thing: it's not a matter of the cast or the subject material or anything. This isn't a condemnation on, like, well, it's a movie with all women. What do you expect? Ocean's 8 did great. Ocean's 8 made money. It's not. Right. It's less. There's obviously going to be an element to this because people suck, but this is part of a larger trend as well of this model of movie. This like budget range, kind of like that mid-budget $20 to $40 million movie. If it's not a stellar, spectacular, crazy thing, then it's not going to do well. I mean, Joker was cheap, but it had buzz and press, and people came out of it going, this thing is ridiculous. Like, it's wild. You have to see this movie.
Right.
Like, you either need, if you're gonna make something, it either needs to be cheap or crazy expensive. And then you just have to pray. If you've made a really good movie, you're gonna make money. But you also have to know the market. You have to see, is this something people want? And I get it. This was a risk. Every movie that's made is a risk because you don't necessarily know if it's something that people are gonna go see or if it's something people actually want.
You know what I would love to see?
What?
A Wes Anderson Charlie's Angels movie.
That would be different.
That would be totally different. Because I was thinking, like, how Joker had, like, a Martin Scorsese-like vibe to it, right?
Yeah.
Obviously he didn't do it, but he was tied to it for a while and didn't do it, blah blah blah. But that's the idea you got when you watched the trailer. You were like, oh, that's the kind of movie that's going to be. I thought, well, Charlie's Angels, I think it'd be great as like a Wes Anderson type movie.
It's fair.
Something different, something just different from the. I mean, when I see the trailers for Charlie's Angels, I feel like I'm watching a trailer from 2005.
Exactly. Do some, and that's something else that studios, as much as there may be proof to the contrary, audiences do actually want different things.
Yeah.
They like different. It's part of why Joker made so much money. People went into it and it was not a comic book movie. It was not a superhero movie. It was different, to say
Right.
the least.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
I feel like it's doing audiences a disservice, this idea of, of studios saying, well, they only want the same thing over and over again, when the market is telling you something different, and everybody says, what about Marvel movies? All the Marvel movies are different.
Right.
Guardians of the Galaxy is not Doctor Strange, is not Thor Ragnarok, is not Ant-Man. These movies are different movies.
Not according to Martin Scorsese. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, well, that's
Yeah.
he's entitled to his opinion, and that's
Totally.
fine. And that's why his new movie is on Netflix and not in theaters.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
I love Martin, and I'm sure The Irishman is great. And it's out. Is it out the end of this week?
I think it's
Is it the
end of November. But
Yeah.
you're right. I think it's around Thanksgiving time, which I guess is soon. Holy crap, it's creeping up.
Yeah, I know, right? Next Thanksgiving is next Thursday. It's in a week.
Next Thursday.
The
How about that?
Yep, what's that, 28th? Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, I know, right?
I think I work next Thursday. I'm not even sure. But yeah.
I know I work next Thursday.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. I think we're in a weird thing because like we really love comic book movies, of course, but we
Yeah.
also love like Peanut Butter Falcon, and I want to see Honey Boy. Like all these weird, different, not weird, but just totally different movies.
You need to see The Lighthouse.
Yeah, The Lighthouse. Like
it was good. It's not like what am I looking for? Hereditary or Midsummer level of like weird and what the
Right.
hell am I watching? It's unnerving and it's creepy, and then when it needs to finally go off the rails, it does. It's phenomenal. And those Willem Dafoe is a freaking treasure. I'm sorry, he's an absolute just masterpiece. And he has a couple of different scenes in The Lighthouse that are just, I don't even know, man. He delivers, because it's set in like 1890. And at one point, he's hammered and delivers this old-time sailor's curse. And it's like a solid minute and a half rant.
Nice.
And it's just crazy. It's one of those where you feel like at the end of the take, and when they were like, and cut, the entire crew would have applauded. It's ridiculous, but that's such a good movie. It's really good. But stuff like that, give me more of that. It wasn't, because I don't do like overly crazy. Like I did not like Hereditary. I had no interest in Midsummer. This was perfect.
Okay, yeah, because Midsummer's crazy.
Yeah.
The Witch 2 I heard is pretty good. I watched a part of it.
Yeah.
A lot of it, but I didn't finish it. Yeah, no. How much did Lighthouse, for example, obviously probably didn't cost too much to make. Do we know what the box office is on that?
Not a ton.
Not a ton.
I can pretty much guarantee that. I'll give you some numbers here in a second. I'll have to look it up. But it wasn't, like I said, this was not a giant movie. It was never going to be, but I've got to imagine it did halfway decent, at least.
Yeah. I'm just wondering, how much does a movie like that cost to make?
It can't have cost much.
Yeah.
There's no way it cost more than maybe, and I says maybe, a couple $1 million.
Okay, well, I'm sure it made that's for sure.
Yeah.
Budget $4 million.
And it's made almost 10.
Yeah, so there you go.
So
it at least made its money back.
Right, you get your return on investment. You get, a couple of hella good performances.
Yeah. I guess that's what me personally, those are the kind of movies I'm really like looking after. Like, for example, did you see the trailer for The Way Back?
No, I haven't yet, but I've been hearing a lot of good things about it.
Maybe at some point during this we take a break and you see it and we come back, because man, that looks good.
Yeah.
It's one of those trailers where I watched, I don't even know why, like 4 or 5 times. I was like, this looks so good.
Nice.
Yeah, like I'm happy for Ben Affleck. I don't know, it looks really good. Anyway, yeah, maybe at some point we'll watch that. I don't know how much that movie cost to make or anything like that, but it doesn't look that expensive. But it looks really good. Sorry, but yeah, what other movies were out this week?
Playing with Fire didn't do terrible.
Okay.
Another 8.5 million. Puts it up to about 26-ish altogether. That's a movie that can't have cost a lot of money to make.
Okay.
That's one where I think the salaries were probably most of it, because it was Keegan-Michael Key and Michael Pena and John Cena.
Oh,
And I'm like, that's
oh yeah, that's right.
that's a heck of a trio to put in the film. But
Did not get good reviews.
No, I'm surprised, really, just shocked. But
yeah, he's John Cena's in his what, Tooth Fairy phase now, I guess.
Well, he's kind of bouncing back and forth, because the next thing I think he's in is like the next Fast and Furious movie. So it's
exactly.
And John has always done, like, he's always really enjoyed doing kid stuff and like Nickelodeon kind of stuff. Like, he's always been big on that. So we'll see him do that forever. He'll always be in these kind of movies.
Yeah.
But, good for him. Whatever.
Yeah. And that's who did that? That was like a Nickelodeon or Sony?
It wasn't Sony. If it wasn't Nickelodeon, because it sure feels like a Nickelodeon movie.
One of those. I know it wasn't Disney.
No.
Oh, Paramount, Nickelodeon. Gotcha. Okay.
I thought it was.
Yeah.
But definitely, you watch the trailer and it just feels like a Nickelodeon movie for sure.
Yeah. I'm sure kids will love it. To me, it looked like Monster Trucks or whatever. Like whatever that movie was.
Oh, I remember that movie.
Yeah. It looked like one of those kind of movies. Just a fun. Oh yeah, they even have like a dog in the fire hat on the poster.
Yeah.
What about Last Christmas?
Last Christmas, second week, did a little over 6.5. Not terrible, but not drawing a whole lot of a crowd anyway.
Yeah.
But also not surprising.
Yeah. Cool.
But not a bad week overall. Yeah, Ford vs Ferrari has really been killing it. Like it's doing a lot better than I think I was expecting, at least, for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm happy for it. I'm very happy for it. Because it's really good, and definitely go see it.
Yeah, I do. Definitely want to see it. Cool. Yeah, and we talked about Frozen 2 coming out.
Yeah.
What are some of the other ones?
Also this week, Dark Waters, which is Mark Ruffalo's like political thriller about the water supply. I think it's somewhere in Virginia or West Virginia.
Okay.
It's the Post of this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's the like holiday. Here's the based on a real scandal kind of movie.
Right. Here's something really shitty that happened.
Right. Yeah, that's that one for this year. To balance that, we've got A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
Okay.
So for anybody who doesn't want to, brave the blizzard of children that are going to be packed in a Disney film,
like Dark Waters.
Or yeah, right. There you have
no children probably going to be in that film.
No, I doubt it.
Yeah.
But you have this as an alternative, and I'm excited for it. I can't wait. I think it looks really good.
Yeah.
And there's also 21 Bridges is finally coming out. It was supposed to come out in August, and it got pushed, and then it got pushed again. And basically, you can tell that I've already forgot whichever studio it is that's putting out 21 Bridges. I think it's STX. They're either producing it or financing it. I think it's STX that has something to do with it. They finally decided that I guess they have no faith in this movie, so they're putting it out this weekend to die.
Oh, wow.
That's basically because, I mean, why else would you release a movie this weekend? Almost.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I why not even wait a few more months till like January, February?
I mean, you might as well just delay it till January. It wouldn't suck.
Yeah. I see the trailer for this all the time on like Instagram.
Yeah, it doesn't look bad. Like, I'm actually excited for it, but I love the cast. I like the idea of it and everything, but I am just not. It's not gonna do well. But
yeah,
and it's also kind of short. It's only like an hour and a half. Or an hour 40.
That's not bad.
It's not a long movie, which I'm good with. I don't need something.
These kind of movies, sure.
Right. Something like this is either going to be like almost 3 hours or half that. Right. And it's like everything in between. It either feels too bloated or it's cut too short. So it's either got to be just on this side of an hour and a half, or it's got to be almost 3 hours.
Right.
Because in between, it's either like you crammed in too much filler or you cut things that were important.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
But, so, I don't know. We'll see.
Cool.
Let's see what happens this weekend. Well, I mean, we know what's going to happen this weekend. Frozen's going to kill everything.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see how anything else does. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. Yep. Cool. Let's get into some movie news.
Yeah, so on the Star Wars front, Benioff and Weiss are not going to be making a Star Wars trilogy. And this didn't surprise me once they announced they had a partnership with Netflix.
Right.
I was like, there's no way, there's just no way they're going to be able to do both things at once.
Apparently they were off of it a long time ago.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
it'd be like that sometimes.
Yep.
But
yep. It's I don't know if it's alarming that Disney has lost so many people, or if this is even surprising. I imagine, I don't know. I'd love to see the behind the scenes on all this, on what happened and what was the decision, and was it Disney? Was it more them going, hey, we'd rather just stick with Netflix and do like a streaming thing? Especially after everything that came after the last season of Game of Thrones, and I'm not one of the people to. I was one of the people that thought it was okay. There was a bunch of problems, but I wasn't as harsh on them, especially that I think everyone else is. And I was looking forward to seeing them do a Star Wars thing, and now they're going to Netflix to do their own thing, which is cool. But it's I don't know. I'd love to know the behind the scenes on what transpired to make this happen, and it's a big question mark on what's coming next with Star Wars. Where do they go now? I think Rian Johnson's still attached to a franchise, but I think that's all we really know, right?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, so it's we're in the phase now where it's like before Endgame, where like we don't know what's coming next.
That's fair.
Right, yeah. I didn't mean that as like a joke, but like after Endgame, we had Comic-Con, and they were like, hey, here's all these movies that's coming out the next couple of years that we have an idea for. And we're kind of doing that with Star Wars. I think they've even said we're going on a hiatus for at least 2 or 3 years, right?
Yeah, I think the next Star Wars wasn't slated until like 2022 anyway.
Right. So, but usually, I mean, we would know about it right now if like they would have some sort of announcement like this is going to be the next one.
Yeah, fair.
But with them gone, and all we know is Rian Johnson. Oh, I guess we know. What's his name is producing one. Kevin Feige, right?
Yeah.
We know he's producing one. We don't know. So I don't know. Man, that guy has on so many hats.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, that's insane. But yeah, they have a Netflix deal, so they're going to be doing what movie or TV shows on there, right? That's all we know.
Yeah, so far anyway.
So I don't know. I wish them the best of luck. It's a little bit of a mess.
It is,
yeah.
To be sure.
I think I don't know. I'm hopeful for Star Wars though, especially in the last few weeks with all the content that's come out with books, with the TV show, with the games. It's been interesting seeing people be positive about Star Wars.
Yeah,
we haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah, and because I was torn. I picked up Pokemon Shield because I had a choice, and it was Pokemon Shield or move everything over and get Fallen Order. And I thought, here are my choices. The first Pokemon game on a Switch, and the first one that I'm really going to have played, because I've got Moon, but I never really played it, so I don't even count it. Right. The first one I've played since Silver. Not Soul Silver, but Silver. That's how long I've actually been out of Pokemon.
Damn.
Or an EA Star Wars game. Right. And I went with Pokemon because the phrase EA Star Wars game is not a fun phrase anymore.
It's not. It's definitely not.
But apparently Fallen Order is really freaking good, so I'm very happy about that.
It's very un-EA. I mean, I don't even think they use the same engine that all the EA games use.
Hallelujah. The Frostbite engine, I think it
The
is.
Frostbite, yeah, like it really should be said this is a Respawn game.
Excellent.
And I understand they're owned by or EA, blah blah blah.
Yeah, but there is a difference.
Exactly, and I think that hopefully this shows them that like we should be a little bit more hands off. I mean, we're actually only a couple of years away until EA's deal is over with, or at least until, God forbid, they renew. But I hope that Disney is smart enough to go. You had your chance. You were 1 for 3, maybe. Well, because this one's got great reviews. There's no, CNN and the BBC and all these news outlets aren't talking about getting your children into gambling.
Right.
I've played it so far. I've done a couple planets. There's not one sign of them. The only thing that's cost extra is if you get the deluxe edition for $10 extra and you get some like cosmetic stuff. But that's you as the consumer,
right,
knowing what you're getting, which is great, and knowing that, hey, if you want this, and I don't even know if you can get the extra stuff in the game outside of the $10 whatever. I don't know, but that I don't think that's the same thing. That's them saying, hey, here's the deluxe edition if you really want all the behind the scenes stuff and everything, and these cool extra whatevers. But that's at least it's on the box saying what you're getting and not a loot box. There's no sign of any of that in this game. It's a breath of fresh air.
Exactly, and I've never had a problem with like the idea of deluxe editions or that kind of thing. I think sometimes they get a little ridiculous, but that's on you if that's what you want to do.
Yes, yeah, you totally know what you're paying for, and there's no man behind the curtain with this. We were waiting for the shoe to drop, I guess is the phrase. I don't understand, but we were waiting for that, and it hasn't happened, and it's pretty fun. Now, granted, I don't know. It's not to me. It's not a perfect game. That I've only played a couple hours. It's still a little like okay, this is very Uncharted. Like my buddy Sean was like, I've jumped on this train before and climbed this mountain. Like it's totally that, but at the same time, if you crank up the difficulty, it's not Dark Souls, but it's close with the combat at least. And if you're not good at Dark Souls games, this will definitely feel like a challenge, but it's not as demanding as the people. If any like person who's beaten Dark Souls and that's their jam, they'll tell you that this is nothing like it as a difficulty level. But hey, I'm a regular schmo here, and I'm telling you, it's difficult if you crank that thing up like to the creatures and it's not a hack and slash. It's not like Force Unleashed where you're just going ham on everything. But what I love about it is you could just crank that thing at any point down to story mode, and you can have a ball, and you can just walk through it like it's a theme park. And if you want that, and I love that also the trophies, none of them are for difficulty. So like you can platinum this game without pulling your hair out. You have to find everything and get every little inch of the map, but it's not like
but that's that's part of it. That's to be expected.
Exactly. It's where Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Academy, to get a platinum on that game, you have to beat it at the most difficult setting, which arguably I think that game is harder because of how old it is, and like you don't get health. I don't know. Anyway, but it's a fun game. It's definitely fun. If you're out there and you're trying to decide, for example, Pokemon, you got all that stuff, maybe get it from Redbox. It's a 20-hour game. I think the Star Wars Explained guy Alex said it's about 16 to 20 hours. He did about 90% of it. So you could crank it out, but I would definitely recommend playing it at some point. Nice. I'm sure it will go on sale like everything else eventually, but you know what you're getting for, and I would always say these are the games you support when they do it right, compared to when they do it wrong.
Right, well, because that's the thing. It's like, hey, this game actually works, and it doesn't try to screw you over or nickel and dime you. So yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, and the lore, it's full of Star Wars stuff. A lot of things I was not expecting happens. I like the story. I like where it's going. The main character is but I think all the other characters surrounding him are very interesting. I guess the main character has to be meh because you're supposed to like that's you or you know what I mean? Like that he's the
Yeah.
vanilla
It's
whatever.
why he's not an alien, because regular players wouldn't be able to connect with an alien character.
Right, right. But the alien characters all around him are just so interesting, and the robot's adorable. He's just totally cool. It's such a fun droid. I shouldn't say robot, but yeah. But yeah, it's a blast to play. I highly recommend it. And see, that's the thing. That's the problem with these two games at the time. I started Pokemon, got the starter, went through some of the first areas, but I got sucked into the Fallen Order. But I'll be playing Pokemon for the. That's the thing. I'll be playing Pokemon for the next year. You get way more bang for your buck with that probably. The Jedi Order or Fallen Order, I'll probably be done by the end of the month. But yeah, man. Which one did you get? Sword or Shield?
Shield.
Awesome. I got Sword. We could trade.
Nice.
Yes,
I have gone basically nowhere so far.
Oh, okay. Well, that's cool. Well, yeah, no. Whenever you get them, I forgot what I think I get like the Farfetch'd guy in mine.
Yeah, you get Surfetched in yours.
Yes, I think you get the My Little Pony dude.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, and there's a few other ones, but yeah, no, I'm excited. Pokemon game looks fun. I have no idea what I've been like on a blackout with Pokemon. I know there was like a bunch of controversy about not having the whole decks or whatever, but like I have stayed away from knowing what they look like. I want to find out in the game. All the ones I've seen so far look cool as shit, like the big Raven dude and the bird that spits out the fish.
Yeah. The ones that they've like officially shown, where it's like, hey,
yes.
Take a look at this.
Yes, I did see some people weren't happy with the Pokemon, but that's every generation.
It's always gonna happen.
If it's not Gen 1, it's not okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My team is weird because
I'm
just getting started, and I'm bouncing between because I went with Grookey for my starter.
There you go.
Because I just can't stay away from grass types. In Silver, it was Chikorita, and I don't know why. It's always grass types. But so I went with Grookey in this, and right now, like half of my team is I'm gonna guess new because I don't know who was from when. Yeah. I don't know like what gen anything is. So my team right now is
they're probably all new to you except for like the originals that you recognize.
That's the thing. Like I recognize Gen 1 very well, and I would probably honestly not recognize a lot of Gen 2 because I don't know Gen 2 backwards and forwards.
Yeah.
But there are some that even I recognize. Like I don't think Yamper is this gen. I think he's old too. So I don't know what the hell all new is in my team because my team
Yamper's new.
Is Yamper new?
He's the one who looks like a corgi, right?
Yes. Okay. So he's new this gen.
He's new. Yeah.
I've got the Meowth that I've got for pre-ordering. I've got what the hell? I've got Grookey, and I'm leveling up a Magikarp. I've got Butterfree and a Choodle.
Wait, I pre-ordered on the Switch. Do I get any of these special ones?
You might get the Meowth. I think you get the Meowth for pre-ordering. Check your mystery gifts and see if you got one. That. Yeah, because I pre-ordered and it came with the Meowth. It came with the Gigantamaxable Meowth. It came with Longcat, basically.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. But I don't know exactly. Like I don't know because I did mine through GameStop. I don't know if it's particularly from one retailer or another. I don't think they're specific.
Okay.
And which Let's Go did you have? Was it Pikachu or Eevee?
Pikachu.
Okay, so you should also have the Gigantamax Pikachu.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, because if you had Let's Go Pikachu or Let's Go Eevee, you got either the Pikachu or the Eevee.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, definitely check your mystery gifts because you should have one of them.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Yeah, I'll definitely do that. Oh, this is weird. Yeah. Roku releases fix after new Pokemon games for Nintendo Switch causes crashing issues. That doesn't make any sense.
On what?
Yeah, what? Exactly.
If you
playing the latest Pokemon game might send your Roku hardware into a fritz. It's been confirmed that that Pokemon Sword and Shield are causing interference issues for some of the company's products. I guess maybe it has to do with, you know how you can trade other Pokemon without using Wi-Fi because I guess it's on Bluetooth or whatever.
Yeah, that's interfering with.
For some reason, it's interfering with the Roku devices. What
Huh.
a weird thing to happen.
Boy, that's just bizarre, but okay,
Yeah,
sure,
I
why not?
it's a weird thing. I googled Pokemon Sword and Shield pre-orders, and that's what I got.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. uh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, Amazon. Sorry, I was going through it, but yeah. Anyway, so yeah, man, Pokemon I'll be diving into probably by the end of the month.
Nice.
I can't do both at the same time because I'm
No,
crazy.
no,
I
I
can't do that.
no, I wouldn't either.
Plus I'm in full Star Wars mode right now.
Fair.
I think that's what did it. Is I was like, it was just a maelstrom of seeing the Mandalorian a million times and then getting the game. And I was like, oh, I gotta play with this lightsaber. But yeah, and this is what we always talked about. Like this year they did it right with the books they released, with the TV show, the game, all leading up to their movie. It's a lot of goodwill, and it's a lot of good. Thankfully, it's all been positive
Yeah.
going into this, and I think that's how you do it. That's how I wish a lot of other companies would do it. That's why I wish they would do it with Marvel. I wish they would drop comics for that type of movie that year a few months ahead of time so you could get the build up, a game or two or something, you know what I mean, like a new Spider-Man game right before the Spider-Man movie comes out. That's how you do it. That's how you get excitement up. But yeah, anyway, sorry. Where were we? Well, we just talked about this the Star Wars. What's going on with Spider-Man?
So Spider-Verse 2 got a release date, April 8th, 2022.
Cool.
And they did actually confirm that the Japanese version of Spider-Man, Supaidaman, is going to be included, which, to me, I'm excited about because that means Leopardon, which was his giant mech and is ridiculously cool, and was actually in the Spider-Verse comic. And it was just a magnificent panel seeing that thing come out of one of the portals. Oh, it's just so dope.
Yeah, that's right.
But... So, that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to that.
Cool.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm trying not to get lost in the notes here because I'm still on the grind with Pokemon while I'm doing this.
Oh wow, yeah, no worries. We got what, Ant-Man 3 next?
Yeah. Peyton Reed is gonna be coming back to direct again, which I think is good. I like the continuity, and I like that I've liked what he's done with them. I know kind of he had more the full undiluted reign with Ant-Man and the Wasp because there was kind of this shadow of Edgar Wright over the first one.
Right. And I take it that because Disney announced 5 new Marvel movie dates.
Yeah,
take it this one's going to be one of the earlier ones.
I would imagine so.
Probably the 2022.
Yeah, because everything that all the ones they announced were post Black Panther 2.
Right.
So we don't know, these are all just dates, but we don't know what those are going to be. They're arguably probably going to be, Ant-Man 3, Guardians 3, and then, I'm not sure, Captain Marvel 2, probably.
Yeah. Definitely Captain Marvel 2. They've said they're making that Black Panther 2, like you said.
Yeah.
I imagine Fantastic Four is somewhere in there.
Might be.
Yeah. Fantastic Four has to be someone there. Probably, I bet at the end of Black Panther 2 we get a Fantastic Four tease, since he came from Fantastic Four.
That's fair. That's actually a very good point.
Yeah, and I think that would be a cool way to the fans would be like, oh, look at that, because he's from it, and it would gel together perfectly.
Yeah.
I would love that, because it would. I guess Ant-Man, you could totally do it too because of the quantum. There's so many things
that would be an interesting pull to pull them from the quantum realm because they do. Because what is it in the comics? The microverse, right?
The microverse, which Fantastic Four. It's all what they. It's all very tying into the Fantastic Four. It's like they've left breadcrumbs for a reason.
Yeah.
And I could totally see that. Either one of those two, I could see them coming from. But I think some sort of tease.
Yeah, I think they would use Black Panther because there is the history there, but also because that's that's gonna draw a bigger crowd.
Oh yeah,
That's gonna do better.
For sure. And don't get me wrong, I love me some Ant-Man, man. Those movies are funny. Yeah, what else we got? We got some Batman news.
Yeah, we do. Andy Serkis has officially been cast as Alfred, which is an interesting pull.
I like it.
I do too. It's a little unexpected.
Yeah, I think it's great. I saw when this was announced, and the next one was Colin Farrell to be Penguin. I saw some people saying they thought it would be reversed for some reason, and I guess I could see it because I think everyone thinks Andy Serkis. Well, he's, he does motion capture, but I see Andy Serkis as Alfred because he's British.
Yeah.
And because he just I see him as an Alfred type character, but I guess they thought like Penguin has to be like CG for some reason. I don't think so at all.
I think it's just because the reaction to Andy Serkis is he plays odd or mocap or some kind of deformed character in some way. And like the live action Andy Serkis that anybody knows was Claw. Again, Black Panther.
Yeah.
But, a villain. And, I think that people just kind of take that association with him.
I could totally see him playing like when I think of Alfred, I think of like a gentleman, someone, but at the same time, underneath the tuxedo, he could kick your ass.
Yeah.
And drop you in a second. And I could see that with Andy Serkis.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Interesting news though. This cast is stacked.
It is.
Like if anything, this cast is freaking stacked. What else we got? The Kingsman?
Yeah, along with the Marvel release dates we found out about, the Kingsman got pushed from Valentine's Day to middle of September next year, which I'm fine with. I think Valentine's Day was not the greatest time to release that.
Right.
But no, I'm okay with this. I don't have a problem with this particular move at all, really.
Real fast, what I was thinking? Deadpool's probably one of those unannounced Marvel movies as well.
It might be. It's possible. Blade might also be one of those.
That's true. That's very true. Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see what happens there. It's gonna be interesting. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're definitely going to pump out the Fantastic Four and Blade before X-Men. I think X-Men's going to be an interesting animal because they know, that's what started it's not what started the Fox when it was Blade, actually. But the franchise as a whole, X-Men could be its entire little universe because of how many characters there are, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think they're going to take their time with the X-Men and release that after this big old phase. But yeah, we got some Sonic the Hedgehog new trailer.
Did you watch this?
I did.
What did you think?
It looked way better.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, they should have did this originally. They would have saved them a ton of money. It's going to be interesting to see how this does. I probably won't make its money back, but I for one am seeing this in the theater no matter what because the studio listened, I guess.
They did, not because it was, here's a group that doesn't like something. It's like, no. Everyone on the planet who saw this trailer said, oh my god, what is that thing?
Right, this wasn't people going, oh, that doesn't mesh with my political views, or it wasn't like that. It was like, hey, that doesn't look like Sonic at all. Like, that looks bad. Right,
to the point of, hey, this looks terrible. We're not going to spend money on this movie.
Exactly.
And now they're going, oh, well, that's a problem. So
yeah, oh yeah, like you're right. I don't want it to set some sort of precedence that like the angry fans need to get what they deserve or get what they want or whatever. But it's hopefully it's a message that like, hey, let's give them a little bit of what they want first instead of going, hey, that idea you liked as a kid? I never enjoyed it at all. I'm going to give you my take that is completely it just looks so bad. Like they didn't need to give him the human teeth. All that stuff. When you see the second trailer, it's funny because seeing it from our point of view, it's weird because we're not kids.
Yeah.
But seeing it from a kid's point of view, like I went hung out with my friend and her kids immediately when I was like, did you guys see the new Sonic trailer? They're like, yeah, it looks like Sonic now. Like they immediately and it's like a meme to them. You know how like we share memes they have their own little weird memes that are very kid-like, but they're they immediately knew that the old Sonic, something was wrong with it. And it's funny, one of my friend's boys pointed out, he looks exactly like Sonic except his arms were different, and I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what do you mean? Because I thought his arms were blue. And he's like, no, his arm is like the tan white color or whatever.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And it's funny what they catch. They immediately recognize it. But yeah, like, and that's the thing, is that's the audience this should be aimed at.
Exactly.
And if they can tell you, hey, that's not Sonic, that's like a crazy version of him, they should have listened to that in the first place instead of, I don't know what they were thinking with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. I, for one, gonna definitely go see it. Plus, I think Jim Carrey's great.
I like his. I genuinely like his Robotnik. I do.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's gonna be a journey seeing him turn into the Eggman at the end or whatever.
There's something else that I watched over the last couple weeks was Arctic Dogs.
Okay.
Because it came out. And this was hey, we're going to do a show for Terminator because it came out, but the files are locked until after midnight and we're already closed. What are we going to do for an hour and a half? Screw it. We're going to sit down and watch Arctic Dogs because why not? We know what we're getting into. And we got exactly what we figured we would. But the John Cleese character is a walrus.
Okay.
And he's a scientist, and he's created an apparatus to help him walk around. And it's a big, like, octopus kind of rig that he sits in. And it's got, the little pointy sort of feet on it and everything. Mm-hmm. And honest to God, somebody... And it's great watching this with nerds, because we all got the joke when we looked at it, and somebody said, oh, hey, look, that's the walrus. And everybody laughed, and I leaned over for a joke that worked on 2 levels, and I said, no, it's the Eggman.
Right.
Because it not only, like, it doesn't just work as from the Beatles song, it also works on he looks like Dr. Robotnik.
Right.
In that big, ridiculous thing. And I'm convinced that this movie was made for one specific joke. And it's towards the end, and there's a whole big to-do, because of course there is. Mm-hmm. And somebody points out, hey, look, it's the walrus. And the albatross character, who's very hinted at as like a burnout stoner kind of character, looks down and just goes, I thought Paul was the walrus.
That would be fantastic.
And it's like it's just dropped in there, and everybody just kind of went, oh. That would be great. And it's fantastic, because you really think you're like, they made this movie just so they could make that joke.
Yep. So what'd you think of the trailer?
Man, that was intense.
Yeah?
That was intense. I'm excited about that now. That does look really good.
It's called The Way Back, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it looks like Mighty Ducks with Ben Affleck, but serious, and basketball players.
Right. Well, and let's not forget, I mean, the reason that Coach wound up with the Mighty Ducks was his community service for a DUI.
Yes.
In the original.
Exactly.
Like, I mean, they went kind of hard to start with here, and it looks like this was just kind of one they went back to. Like, they took that idea and said, yeah, but what would that probably really more be like?
Right, exactly. And I and everything that's going on with Ben Affleck and what we know in his very private life, is he's going through this issue with alcoholism.
Yeah.
He's been open about that, and about just some of his regrets over the last however many years dealing with it. And I imagine this has to be a little therapeutic for him. At least that's what I thought when I saw the trailer. I was like, God, man, for him to be able to shoot those scenes and whatnot, going through what he's going through, I guess it's kind of like Shia LaBeouf with his Honey Boy and stuff like that.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, like you're going through something, and it really, I was like, man, that just looks really good. Like, every once in a while, a movie that I don't even like basketball. I don't watch basketball. It's not that I don't like it. I'm not into it. I'll definitely go to the games or whatever, but it's not my thing. I like football and soccer way more. But that just looks really good. I think everyone can kind of connect on that. And like what looks like maybe a comeback story. Yeah, it just looks really good. But I thought, yeah, man, I want more movies like that. But yeah, so where were we? We talked about the Kingsman Sonic. What's this next one?
Okay, so there's a movie being made called The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Yes.
And it's going to star Nicolas Cage as Nicolas Cage in a very, like, it's very being John Malkovich in the sense of, like, it is a very meta drama, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited about it because it's like, hey, Nicolas Cage sometimes argues with himself about he doesn't do movies anymore, and he should have kept doing movies and but not done crap movies, and he winds up involved. The way the synopsis reads is ridiculous because it's like he gets hired to come to a party for a Mexican billionaire who he finds out from the CIA has kidnapped a Mexican presidential candidate's daughter, and in the process, Nicolas Cage's character of Nicolas Cage reconciles with his family, and it's so ridiculous. It's absolutely just patently ridiculous, but it's that kind of like, I can't wait to watch this because it's gonna be bonkers.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I thought it was about him trying to get into a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Yes, that's also part of it.
That's part of it. Yeah. To me, it seemed like you've seen Adaptation?
No.
Oh. This seems like the sequel to Adaptation.
Okay, what was Adaptation? I've heard the name, is vaguely familiar.
It's extremely meta. It's about a writer writing a script that he can't figure out, and I mean, that's kind of the movie.
Okay.
He can't figure it out, and you realize while watching it, oh, this is the script. So it's very much, go watch Adaptation. But it's like the John Malkovich. It's very it's weird.
Yeah, it's weird and heavy meta and all that kind of stuff. Fair enough.
Yeah, it's like the opposite end of the spectrum for Freddy Got Fingered. It's very meta, but just a different kind.
The meta for Freddy Got Fingered is medication. That's what you're looking for. There.
Oh no, man! Oh God, that's I haven't seen that movie in so long, and I watched the Red Letter Media tear it apart. And by the end of it, they're like, "Is this a secretly genius movie?" Because they're like, was Tom Green? Did he know he was doing this? But yeah, anyway. But yeah, I definitely want to see this. It looks just crazy.
Yeah,
just batshit crazy. We got some Uncharted news.
Yeah, so Mark Wahlberg, who way back in the day when David O. Russell was attached to direct this movie, was considered to be cast as Nathan Drake. Yeah. And instead they've gone the other way and they're doing young Nathan Drake, and Tom Holland's going to star in it. They've decided Mark Wahlberg would make a decent Sully.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure how I feel about this. I don't hate it.
I don't like it.
But I'm not crazy about it.
Nope, I don't like it one bit. I don't see it. That's not the character of Sully.
Yeah.
To me, that's terrible casting. Mark Wahlberg, I'm not saying he's a terrible actor or anything like that at all. This is not the role that that's not Sully to me at all. Sully's like just a different. I've never seen Mark Wahlberg get anywhere close to something like Sully.
Fair.
He doesn't have the charisma. He has none of that Sully would. Sully he's a father figure to Nathan, and just a very different kind of. I don't know. This is not who I would expect at all.
So who would you cast then?
Tom Hanks.
Yeah, you think so?
I mean, that's the best actor I think that would do it.
That's
an older actor, someone that age, no one near Mark Wahlberg is just not who I would expect.
Yeah, fair.
I don't know. I don't know why Tom Hanks went to the top of that list there. Just definitely an older actor.
Yeah, but you got to remember, Sully. If they're doing young Nathan Drake, then Sully is not that old yet, though.
So okay, so let's see
So
here.
he'd be more middle-aged-ish. Like,
Yeah,
older, yes, but here's the thing. I think if they were going to do... If they had done, like, the Mark Wahlberg age Nathan Drake, then Tom Hanks Sully, hands down. No
yeah.
question. But I think otherwise, I don't know offhand.
Who's the guy that was in the Avengers movie and he played Bruce Banner's father-in-law or would-be father-in-law?
Yeah, Thunderbolt Ross.
Yes, that actor.
Him, yes. But again, like, I still think that's a little too old.
Okay.
I think
maybe okay. So someone younger.
Yeah. Like like give me like mid-late 40s, kind of old. Maybe somewhere around there.
Let's see here. Who's that guy? I'm just terrible at this. Let me Google the show he was on. He was in Fargo, Justified. The guy from Justified.
Timothy Olyphant?
Yes.
Fair.
Yeah, I'm trying to go younger. He said younger.
That's fair. That's not a bad call, really.
Him with a mustache, like a really good mustache.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's had the hat. So,
or even Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Ewan McGregor's not a bad choice. That's fair.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm thinking younger that could still like get in fights and stuff like that.
Right, yeah.
That would grow into a gruff, I don't know. And he could do a mustache.
That's true.
Yeah. Or the guy from Stranger Things. The one from
Now
Hellboy.
you're talking. Now you're talking. Yes, David Harbour. There we go. That's a Sully. That's perfect. I think that would work.
Not Marky Mark. Mark Wahlberg has a million roles he can play. I don't know. That's just not who I see.
This doesn't happen to be one of them.
Yes.
That's fair. I think that's fair.
Oh yeah. And we got Scream. Spyglass Media Group acquires Frights to next film.
Frights. Did I actually write that? Or
you did? Did I ruin your joke? I'm sorry.
God, I didn't even know I wrote that. Oh my God. I did. I wrote that.
Worked.
Oh my God.
Ding. Yeah. So that's cool. I'm excited. Let's get Ghostface back in there. He's done some TV. I need to finish the newest season because I liked the older ones.
Yeah, I haven't even started the third season.
Yeah, the third one's completely different, so you can just jump into the third one if you want to.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm good with that.
Yeah. And yeah, it's about time. It's been how many years since the original Scream?
20 and change?
It's been way more than enough time for them to look at the last 20 years and say, how do we make a meta Scream now that everything's... Dude, can I tell a quick story?
Go for it. What you got?
Spooky story?
Sure.
In my house, no one else is here. It's just me. I have my phone. I have Apple products, right? But, like, my computer's off. My iPad wasn't here. Watching television, and I hear the instant message or the text message noise you'd get if you have an iPhone.
Right.
And I go, someone texted me, whatever. I go, my phone's literally sitting there right with me. So I go and look at it, and I look. There's no text messages. And then I hear it again. And I realize it's not from my phone. It's another device in my house that is going off with the messages, not from the television. At this point in time, I turned it down for whatever reason. I forgot what I was doing. I turned it down a little bit. I was freaking out.
Yeah,
I'm like,
fair enough.
What is this message from? Because you know how it does it for the first time, and with Apple devices, if you don't open up the message, it does it again.
It does it again, yeah.
And so between that time period, I had turned down the volume because I knew it was going to do it again. And it did it again, and something in my house went off. So I'm freaking out. I'm thinking, like, what could it be? I end up going behind one of the couches. And if you sit down in the couch and something falls out of your pockets, change or whatever, it would go into the couch and down below into like this little pocket area that in the back of the couch you can like unvelcro and it all comes down if there's stuff in there. So every once in a while when I clean the house, I'll take that out, just vacuum in there, just make sure everything's nice and clean. So the couch that's up against the wall, I went through everything for like 20 minutes, couldn't find anything. And then I went through it again and finally I undid these pouches and I found an old cell phone. And it's one that I lost since I got my new one.
Yeah.
And I didn't use it anymore because the battery was dead. So the phone doesn't charge. It doesn't turn on. I still have no idea where this noise came from. I searched everything to make sure there was no squatters in the house. Oh my God. It freaked me out. And what it made me think of, thankfully I'm obviously still here and alive. Nothing's gone wrong. But I thought, well, that would be an interesting way to open up a Scream movie. Like you hear a phone ring or a text message noise and it's not from your phone. I can't tell you how freaked out I was when I was looking at my phone and I heard it again and there was nothing on the TV. I thought, what is making that noise? It's obviously an iPhone or an iPad or it's an Apple product. And so since then I've changed my text message tone to Yoda, going woo. So I don't know what to think of it. It couldn't be this old phone that I found because it was dead.
Yeah.
It was dead.
So you think?
Right? I don't know, honestly. I can't figure it out. It really freaked me out. And that's all I'll say about that. I don't know. It was really creepy. I don't know what else to say, but it creeped me out. And I thought that would be kind of a weird way or something in a Scream movie, because that would be a twist on like, you know, back then they had it was a cordless phone, but it was a house phone, and most people don't even have house phones, you know, these days. Funny thing, I know this is totally off topic. I was thinking the other day, I was talking to someone and I saw that kids have no idea what hang the phone, where it comes from.
Hang the phone up. Yeah, I believe that, actually.
Yeah, like they know it means to turn the phone off or to end the call, but they don't understand. Like, I'm just saying, it's been 20 years since that Scream. There's so many things that they could touch on.
Yeah.
The way technology has changed, the way that did.
They did a little of that in the fourth one.
See, dude, after the second one, it gets even in the second one, it all kind of gets blurry for me.
Yeah, that's fair.
I sometimes confuse Scream with Scary Movie with what they reveal, and you know what I mean, like, because at that time they just flooded it and then it went away.
That's fair.
I would love to go back and actually rewatch them. I remember the second one clearly opening up at the beginning with the movie theater, but after that I couldn't tell you what happens.
Yeah.
I'd actually love to go back and revisit those. What do you want them? Do you want them to completely reboot it, or would you rather, dude? What if they opened it up as if those movies came out in that universe?
They did that. That's what happened. That's what the second one was.
Okay, well, then maybe that's what I'm thinking.
The second one, the movie that's playing is a scary movie based on the events of the first one.
No. I mean, you go even deeper. All of these movies have come out in a universe.
Right, but then you can't have that.
I guess, yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
I get where you're going, but then you have a universe of, like, then none of the characters get to come back.
Oh, okay.
Because if they're all characters in movies,
all different actors
in this one, then yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, I guess you would just have to completely reboot it from the ground up, but keep Ghostface mask. Yeah, I hope they don't screw up the mask.
Which apparently is what they did with the third season.
Yes.
Right, where they actually put the mask in it.
Oh yeah, that was the most annoying thing about the first two seasons of that show. And they're different studios, I think, completely. One was on MTV, one was on like VH1. They feel like very different shows.
That's the same company. It's the same company.
Maybe it's the same company, but I'm telling you, when you watch on Netflix and you watch the first two seasons, it looks like a Lifetime television show. And then when you watch the third season, it looks way more professional. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like, one looks like it was made on tape. The other one looks like Blu-ray. But yeah, they got to keep the Scream mask. That is so iconic with it.
I didn't mind not having that in the show.
To me, it felt like it was I felt like I was watching like after Jurassic Park, all of those other dinosaur movies came out, and it just did not look like it.
Fair enough.
I guess that it just, to me, that's so iconic. You don't fuck that up. It's like a Jason movie. You gotta have the mask on.
Even though that didn't come in until the third movie.
Totally. But I think most people, when you think back to Jason, to me, my favorite was probably the fourth one. But no one thinks of the first one. And that's so meta because that's exactly what the opening of Scream is all about.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny this conversation took that complete circle, but that's what I'm talking about, is everyone thinks of that Jason mask. Everyone thinks of Jason as being, the villain in it. And no one thinks of the first movie with the mother. And that's what I'm saying is Scream is so iconic. You gotta have that mask. At least if I was sitting there like I'm helping make the movie, I would be so stuck on, you gotta have the mask. We can do whatever we want, but that's gonna be the icon that people go see when they see the poster, when they see the trailer. That's gonna get the asses in the seat.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, to me, that if you make Chucky with a Care Bear, people are gonna be very confused. You know.
That's fair.
If that makes sense, I don't know.
Yeah. No, the last Child's Play was actually pretty good. The reboot.
Yeah, I think it's on like HBO. I'm gonna check it out.
Check it out if you can. It's not bad. Like, I mean, and let's be honest, the old Child's Play movies were not great either.
I was never a fan of them, but it's it's on HBO, so I'm not, I already got that sub.
Okay, I got a question. I have a Pokemon related question. I don't know if you can answer this.
Ooh, put me on the spot. Let's go.
Yeah. How much? Well, it's not it's specific to Sword and Shield. That's why I don't know if you'll have an answer. How far are you in Sword and Shield?
Oh, not far at all. Like I did all the beginning stuff, and then I did the first town.
Okay, so you wouldn't be able to answer this question. Never mind.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I'm in the first wild area.
Okay.
And I'm noticing there's a difference because there's obviously like, hey, here's where the Dynamax Pokemon are. Because it's giant beams of red light coming out of the dens that they live in.
Right, those are the raids, right?
Yeah, one of these is purple and sinister looking and terrifying, and I kind of want to go touch it.
Go touch it! Go touch it!
But
if you're in a game and something looks like it should be touched, go touch it.
That's fair. And it's neat because in the wild area, like, some of the dens are, like, dormant, kind of. Yeah. There are some where there's just nothing, but then there's some where it's like, hey, I can get whatever the energy is out of it, but there's no giant beacon lit from it. Oh, hey, tree. Sorry, there's a tree here.
Wait, so pink... I haven't gotten that far yet. They're pink lights for the raids?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then damn, I just got like a bunch of berries.
Okay, so indicated by a pink or purple pillar light.
Yeah, I got pink. What is purple? Like
I imagine maybe it's more difficult.
I would imagine so. If that's the case, then I may go back because I guarantee you, I'm nowhere near, like, I can't tackle a raid on my own.
This says the quickest way to get watts, which I don't know what that is.
Yeah, that's the Dynamax energy.
Gotcha. Okay, is through the max raid dens you'll find in the wild area. If the den is empty, you'll get 50 watts just for visiting. But if it has a Dynamax Pokemon inside, indicated by either a pink or purple pillar of light, you'll receive 300 watts.
Okay.
So I guess purple light, pillar of light, I'm imagining is just maybe more difficult.
I'm guessing because it gives you like a little, like a brief summary when you actually go to the pillar and interact with it. It gives you like the little, and that's what I love, like they still have like the 16-bit outlines for like when you've got a Pokemon in a box or something. It gives you like the 16-bit little avatar of it. It's really, really neat.
Gotcha. That's awesome.
It gives you that as a silhouette, and then it tells you what kind of Pokemon it is.
Oh wow. That's awesome.
I think, because I'm looking at something that's water and grass, and I know I've been out of the game for a while, but that would be like, that's a little counterintuitive to me. But
there's a few like that have their own weaknesses as a whatever. There's a few of them like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, purple is, it's harder.
Okay, great. Well,
they award you more.
Yeah, so. What the hell? Let's see what this thing is.
Yeah, go for it. Catch them all, dude.
Alright, right?
So
Yeah,
anyway,
but yeah, it's like let's see, because I'm just
Scream.
like I'm just gonna drop into this steps, and also on the purple one, I've
Yeah.
noticed the silhouette behind it is it's like there's a sun behind it, like it's highlighting it,
Oh,
which
okay.
is not on the pink ones. So that's definitely, and I'm guessing there's a difficulty meter up at the top because there's just a star, and I don't
Oh,
know
okay.
if that's oh, and it'll
Well,
like randomly. Oh, okay, so it won't give you like a. You can either invite trainers or it just kind of drops people in with you,
gotcha.
and
I
not
imagine this will be an interesting way to add more Pokemon to the game throughout the year.
yeah.
Like this is how you go, hey, we heard you guys. There's a lot of fan favorites that are missing. We're gonna drop Ivysaur or whoever in there.
Yeah,
Um, and here you go. That's how you kind of do that, right? Wouldn't that be cool? Like to have a, a raid with like a Pokemon that you really want that's not in the game. I don't know who's in the game, so I'm just gonna throw Mewtwo out there. I don't know if he's in there or not, but like that's how you add like those kind of Pokemon instead of it just being, hey, you went to a GameStop and got a card and he's in your game now. It's like,
right.
hey, for this month, you and a few other people just need to gather, or you just go with randos, just like you would in any MMO. It's just you get a random group and you battle a raid.
Exactly. And I can see that happening a lot of this, where it's just
Yeah,
like
that would be fun.
this is, and god damn, the setup for this is crazy. Like, this
Yeah.
is wild. Like, it actually looks terrifying. Like, the Pokemon turned out to be a Lotad that I'm fighting.
Okay.
But it's
Okay.
it's gigantic, and everything is purple and sinister and evil looking, and it's cool. It's creepy as hell.
Yeah.
But it's really cool, and there's no way I'm going to be able to actually beat this thing, even though it gives you, like, bots as partners. It gives you, like, it's not, you're like, I'm not going to invite other, like, human trainers in to help. It gives
Right.
you AI to fight with you, so you're never actually taking it, alone. But
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, this is not going to happen at all.
Oh yeah. Well, you know what? I think I just Googled my own answer to the question as to how they're going to add these things back in.
How are they going to add these things back in?
So apparently, this is okay. So this is kind of a spoiler for Sword and Shield. If you don't want to know which Pokemon are in the game and which ones are not in the game, that are from older games, right? So there's a few I'm going to list, just two of them that are not in. Is that okay? Should I say that?
Yeah, that's fine. I think
Okay.
that's a
So,
fair enough spoiler warning.
yeah, so two starter Pokemon that are not in this game that were in older games I'm going to mention. But the good news is it looks like there's a wave that they're probably going to add them. So, okay, so fast forward maybe a minute or two if you don't. So anyway, Bulbasaur and Squirtle are apparently not in this game, but they're in the data.
Fair
So
enough.
that tells me that they're eventually going to be added.
Okay.
So they're in the data of the game, which means that the people who made the game were like, hey, we're going to put this in there. So once they do get released, it's there. It doesn't have to necessarily. It's just a patch. Will boom, there you go, unlocked. That's how you do it, and that's exactly what I imagine is going to happen. Is that data is in there. That's how you get them in there.
Yeah.
So, because they've announced in the trailers and stuff about Charizard and whatnot, so that makes sense. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
So
well, and I mean, we saw like the champion who's inevitably the guy that you're gonna have to fight at the end has a Charizard and is a badass Charizard.
Exactly. Yes. But that's how you get some other fan favorites in there. That's how you get in there some Lickitung and some other crazy weird Pokemon that I imagine are fan favorites. And you tie this into Go, which they have.
Yeah.
They have some Galar region specific Pokemon in Go, and man, it's I think it's a beautiful mix of how you do it right. It's got a lot of the old. It's got some of the newer elements, especially with that rating stuff. That's how you do it. I don't need every Pokemon in there, especially at the beginning.
No, I was totally fine with when they were like, "Hey, not all 1,000 some odd Pokemon are going to be in this game." Okay,
Right.
I'm good with
Yeah.
that. I don't need. I don't want that. Like, I love the idea of like, hey, we've got some new stuff, obviously, and we're gonna like supplement it with some of the old stuff. I think that's perfect.
Yes, that's how you that. And dude, 99% of the people who play Pokemon, they don't sit there and try and collect every single 800 or so of them now.
Yeah.
They collect the ones that are in the game. If that, like, I mean, I imagine most people who play Pokemon beat the game and probably put it down. And then there's a whole bunch of people who beat the game and have to collect every single one of them. And I'm probably in that category, but that's where I stay off. I don't try and go, I have to transfer every 800 Pokemon into this game somehow, some way through my Pokebank or whatever.
Yeah.
Those are the people that are upset, and I hear them. I understand their whatever. I understand the being upset about that. But most people, this isn't going to affect them. They're going to go, hey, there's all these cool new Pokemon that look awesome, and you got Charizard, you got some fan favorites in there, and Pokemon's a game that it's released, and it's not just that's not the end of it. Though throughout the year, you bet your ass you'll be going to GameStop. They'll give you a code, and hopefully it will unlock a raid or something in the game. I want that. I want it to where it's like some gameplay thing. To where you can catch those Pokemon, and I think that raid thing is the perfect way to do it.
Yeah, and
they can change that up.
Yeah, and at least in this first segment, the raids are not impossible, as evidenced by the fact that I just caught this Gigantamax Lotad. So.
Yep. Oh yeah.
But it's cool. It's a very cool setup. It's really, really neat. And it gives you, like, it time limits it. You only have, I think, like 10 turns. And
now, do you mostly play handheld, or do you play on the TV?
I play TV.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, have you noticed a difference at all?
I haven't, because I'm not looking, but...
Oh, okay. Gotcha. No, I was just curious. Oh, that was the other... I don't know if I've talked about this. I got a Nintendo Lite.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, the black and white one. It is... I love it. I mostly play handheld, and so I thought, well, that thing is super light. That was a selling point for it. Obviously, it's called Switch Lite.
Yeah.
But the other one is big and bulky, and obviously you play it on the television. It just wait. If you don't have a Switch and you're looking for a Switch, go get that one. Go get the OG one or the one with the better battery. But the regular Switch.
Yeah.
But if you play like 99% handheld, man, it is so much lighter. I can lay back, and if it falls in my face, it's not going to break my nose. I just like that it's lighter, that I carry it around, and that's constantly what I'm doing. I'll go from the couch to the table counter to my bed to the chair to wherever, and it's so much lighter, and it's easy to just kind of. It's been fun. I love it.
Nice. Very cool.
But yeah, it's $200, so I think you can, like. I think they had a deal where you literally can walk in with the regular Switch and trade it out, and you get that Switch Lite. But yeah, it's $200. It's totally worth it. That's probably the cheapest way to get into console gaming this gen, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, and the Nintendo library is stacked right now. If you get Pokemon, get Fire Emblem, of obviously Zelda's and Mario's and stuff like that. But man, it's a good time to have a Switch right now. So before we transition, and there was what? Oh yeah, did you see? Okay, I guess we should record tomorrow, because tomorrow there'll be a new Cats trailer.
A new what?
Cats trailer.
Oh, Cats. I didn't hear what you said.
Sorry. Yeah. No. But anyway, so we'll move on to some TV news. What's going on with Game of Thrones?
Game of Thrones, they finally announced officially, I should say, announced the prequel series. It's going to be called House of the Dragon, because it's going to be about the Targaryens.
Yeah.
And, it's going to be interesting to see what happens before, because, I mean, we know how they end, but...
Right.
I don't know. It'll be good. It'll be interesting. It'll be a different kind of setting, because it's not gonna be the world as we know it. It's gonna be a long time before that.
Right. So this is gonna be about Aegon's conquering.
Yes.
Right. Like, it's gonna be about. Now I'm wondering how they do this. Are we going to see the fall, or are we going to see? I imagine that will be the first episode. We'll see the fall of them. We'll see all the other houses fall, the dragon riders or whatnot, and then we'll see him coming over to conquer Westeros.
Yeah.
There's a book out called Fire and Blood. that's pretty good. It's not a normal book. Like, it's not like you read from chapter to chapter and it's a story. It's like a history book.
Okay.
It's called Fire and Blood, and it's Fire and Blood 300 years before Game of Thrones. It's literally what they're basing this series off of.
Yeah.
I think, we talked about before, the other one, the Blood Moon. They shot the pilot and it wasn't picked up. And I think it's because they sat down and said, we need to pick one of these. What do you think people's more interested in?
Fair.
The Nightwalkers or the dragons?
And everybody said the dragons.
I think the dragons, because the Nightwalkers, we saw the end of their story.
Right.
And it's and the dragons, I think, have more of appeal to the mass audience of, hey, we get to see dragon riders. Like, now that we've seen them in action in these, it's gonna be fun, I think. I don't know. I think it's gonna be cool. I'm excited. I hope that they're gonna shoot the pilot. I hope it gets picked up. But they've announced it. I don't know. I'm excited. I know Game of Thrones got a lot of hate for the last season, but that world there's so much there to unpack.
Yeah, there is a ton there that they could do just so ridiculously much with.
Yes, just don't give it to anyone that's going to be doing Star Wars in a few years, or not doing Star Wars in a few years.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, man. There's have you seen that Golden Compass show on HBO?
I haven't. I know it's out, but I haven't seen it. His Dark Materials. I have not watched it yet.
Yeah, I watched a part of the first episode, and so far I never liked the Golden Compass. For whatever reason, the fantasy in that fantasy, not the fantasy part of it, the magic part of it with the spirits or whatever, it just never really sat with me. It was weird.
Yeah.
I never really understood it, I guess. But watching the first part of this, I really liked it. And it's got what's his name? The Professor X, Charles Xavier. What's his name?
Oh man, I always forget his name.
Yes, it starts with an M, I think.
No, because that's Fassbender. That's Michael Fassbender, and he's Magneto.
Yeah.
It's my God, I can't think of his name. Oh, that's
McCoy, something McCoy.
No, that's Hank McCoy. That's Beast.
God, it's some M. If only we had the internet.
I know, right?
It's James
McAvoy. James McAvoy. Thank you. Jesus,
that's it. Yeah.
God.
There was an M in there. But yeah, what was I even say? Oh yeah, he's in that. Yeah, he's really good in it. He was definitely the standout, and
That's
it's got the young girl from Logan in it.
Oh, okay. So an odd sort of X-Men crossover happening here.
Exactly. Yes, and they kind of have the same roles in it, sorta. He's definitely the older figure, and she's younger. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
Huh.
I want to, I got it for Watchmen right now, and Watchmen is probably the best show on television.
Yeah, I'm a couple back on that. I need to jump back into it.
Yeah, so I won't talk spoilers or anything. But there's so much to. Should we talk about a little bit about Watchmen? We'll wait till later, I guess. But yeah, go watch Watchmen.
Yeah, it's good. I do know that, but
yeah. Well, we'll say this. This isn't that big of a spoiler. It is a sequel to the comics. Go watch it. There's if you love the comics, there's so much of that in this, I think.
Yeah.
But it's the way you reinvent something, but just totally honoring the original as if it's the Bible.
Yes.
And was Alan Moore. We know that he hates anything that is not his original series.
Right.
But man, this pays so much homage to it, so much respect to it. This is how you do it. This is how you get people who were into the original thing, and oh man, there's just so much love dedicated to the original that it's hard to not like it. And it's hard to be. I mean, it's hard to be critical with the show because they get so much right, and especially with the writing of it. But anyway, HBO Max Green Lantern series announced for the service.
Yeah, they've said they're gonna make the biggest DC television series yet.
Right. Yeah. So that's cool. I mean, what would you say the biggest DC show it has been?
Legends of Tomorrow.
Legends of Tomorrow. That's
Just
true.
in terms of scope and scale and all that kind of stuff, I would
That's
think.
true.
I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Even Gotham too. Gotham was a pretty big show. But you're right. That wasn't in space or anything like that.
Yeah.
Um. But yeah. I'm excited. Green Lantern. He's fantastic. Um. I also bet like if they do the Snyder release, it would be for the HBO Max service. You push a button and suddenly you get to see that version that is somehow going to be better.
I really hope that they actually do go ahead and put it out so that everyone can shut up and they'll watch it and they'll realize, it wasn't Zack Snyder was going to make things better, because
yeah, no, I mean,
I if anything, I think the Snyder cut would be worse.
Yeah, remember the Snyder cut of Man of Steel?
Yeah.
And the Snyder cut of Batman vs Superman?
Yeah.
Probably going to be along those lines.
Yeah. Remember
but
this.
Hey, I mean, if that's what you're into, that's the thing is, I hope this doesn't set a precedent of a bunch of angry fans getting what they want. But at the same time, if you have it and it's there and it's obvious there, these actors would not be saying release a Snyder cut if they haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Then do it just to get it over with, so it's not a thing. And you're absolutely right. I don't think it's going to be any better. It's not going to make it, So is Superman going to have a mustache in this version?
I don't know.
And how do they do the animation? Like what studio did he hire to do the special effects?
I don't know.
Is it all cartoon that like his parts that he edited? Like how does that? I don't know how that works. I guess. Like how did you finish the? Is it? I don't know, because obviously I guess the stuff that was cut wasn't. They're not going to fully do with CGI and everything. So how? I don't know. I don't know how that works. Is it going to like cut to a cartoon for 8 seconds and then come back to live action?
I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you.
But I agree. I think that if there is a real version out there that they did finish, sure, put it out there. That would be fine. Netflix, they announced their partnership with Nickelodeon. And
yeah.
For both.
Because we've seen, like, Nickelodeon has done, like, they did, like, the Invader Zim movie, and they did, what was the other one? The Hey Arnold movie that they did. It's like, okay, these are kind of neat and everything.
Rugrats.
And Rugrats, and Netflix has kind of come up and said, you know what? This partnership really works for us. Let's do some more.
Hey, Nickelodeon's the other side of that coin, for Disney movies, Disney TV shows and stuff like that. Nickelodeon has a gigantic backlog.
Yeah.
For its stuff. I don't know about nowadays. I don't know what's on Nickelodeon nowadays, but back in the day, man, the Rugrats, Hey Arnold, all that stuff.
Well, I mean, they've got Nicktoons to spare. Yes. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. So that's smart. That's how... you see the meme going around like these streaming services need to figure it out because we are at a max level here. We can't do anymore. TNT, I don't know if they even have one. They can't come out with their own service. They got to figure it out. Like these big studios need to figure it out where their stuff's going to be, because I got room for Prime because I get it for free with my carrier. I got room for Disney Plus, Netflix, and Hulu is always a maybe for me.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I don't have room for it. HBO Max is the only one I'm going to be able to probably do. But again, I get my HBO subscription because it's someone a relative in the family.
Yeah, fair enough.
But outside of that, most people are not going to go. You think about people like our audience probably has either a PlayStation, an Xbox, or a Switch subscription, or 2 or 3 out of them.
Yeah, basically.
Maybe they have iCloud for $10 a month, or however much it is a month. You can't get too much. Outside of that is territory where, if you're probably a dodo like me, you just forget about a subscription, which I imagine they are hoping for, and it just rolls into the next month.
Right.
But Audible, like they need to figure it out, and that's the best way to do it, because Nickelodeon is, if they do their own subscription, it would tank. You have to attach it to something to go, oh hey, that's an added feature. Now Netflix Kids is going to have a lot better stuff, because the Nickelodeon stuff was just really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we got some video game news. PlayStation Now has got Hollow Knight, Shadow of War, Persona 5 was added to the service to download.
Yeah. So which is neat. They're very, very slowly trying to catch up with Game Pass. They're better. It is better.
Yeah.
But it's still got a long way to go.
Oh yeah.
But they are in fact getting better, and I'm very happy about that.
Yep. That's good.
Because I know this is like kind of their big overhaul of the service now, you can tell. Where they're going to start really working to catch up. Because, I mean, they started it with, God of War, was it Last of Us, I think, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
And then the big, like, oh, hey, by the way, this is a not first-party game, was GTA 5.
Right.
Which, if you're going to say, hey, included in our subscription service that you can download is friggin' GTA 5, okay.
Perfect.
That's a big play. I like that call.
Oh yeah, I think Xbox just announced they're gonna have like 8 or 7 Final Fantasies.
It's 7, it's 8 remastered. I think 9 is on there. 10 and 10.2 HD remaster are on there. 13, right. 13.2, and Lightning Returns are all going to be on there, and I think 15 is also going to be on there.
Yeah, at some point they. So there you go. If you're a big Final Fantasy fan and you own an Xbox,
yeah,
you're stacked. That's how you do it, man. I mean, I love this Xbox Pass. I've been playing Outer Worlds on it. Like that, it's perfect. It's so good, and I think Reach comes out next month on it. Halo Reach.
Yeah, I think so.
I've never played that, so I'm gonna jump into that. Play some multiplayer on the PC. Should be fun. We got some WWE news.
Yeah, so WWE Backstage, which is their like Fox Sports 1 analysis version, like show. It's their sports center, more or less. They have their rotating cast of people, and they're like, hey, and by the way, you guys want CM Punk back? Well, here you go.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't, man, what's the phrase? Unceremoniously put out there? Like, I don't like that I don't know. He came back to the WWE in an empty soundstage.
Yeah, basically.
Watched by like a couple thousand people.
Yeah. But here's the thing. He's not back with the WWE because his deal is with Fox.
I know. So
that's
the funny joke, have you seen Fox's Twitter?
No. What did they do now? Because I'll tell you what, their WWE side of Twitter is really killing it.
Yeah, the Fox, what is it? Fox on
WWE on Fox. Yeah,
they tweeted, "We're this close to just changing our handle to CM Punk on Fox," and Becky Lynch fan or whatever said, "Why? He's not even in the WWE anymore." And Fox goes, "But he's on Fox, Karen."
Jesus,
he called her Karen. I don't know. I thought it was funny. But yeah, no, CM Punk's been interesting. Like CM Punk just tweeted out, "It is weird trying to catch up on 5+ years of wrestling. I'm doing what I can. There's bright spots, mostly women, from what I can tell. There's bad too. I'm going to talk about it, and no one is safe. Join us." And then he tags Renee Young, WWE on Fox, Booker T, Paige, Vince McMahon, and Tony Khan. He tagged Tony Khan, and all the gifts are like, hold up.
One of these things is not like the other.
Yeah. So it's hey man, as much as I love AEW, there is some bad on that too.
There is, and a lot of it comes from their setup. They need to work harder at building feuds and things for people to be interested in. Because I went when they were at Charlotte, and it was an awesome show, and I loved the hell out of it. Right. And the energy was very different. But there were, first of all, nobody likes the Dark Order. I got that very loud and clear. Nobody cared about their match.
Right.
Because they were just like, oh, it's these guys. We don't care.
Right.
And one of the other problems was the women's match. They haven't built, and it's because they're not building anything outside of the ring if it's not on Being the Elite. And that's got to change somewhat.
Yeah.
Because the stuff that's working really well is like Pac and Paige. Everybody loved that because that was also built on the show. Moxley and Omega, we saw promos. Cody and Jericho, I'm sorry, that Jericho video package with like Chris Jericho's aunt's friend from church or whatever, that killed in that arena.
Cody and Jericho is the best thing that's been in wrestling for years.
Yes,
and I imagine CM Punk. That's if I was imagining CM Punk thinking what's good and what's bad. That's probably one of the highlights.
Yes.
For the last 5 years is their little rivalry, and it totally makes sense how it ended.
Yes,
that's how you do that story-wise. That's how you build that up. That's how you make a definitive villain for your show, and that's how you put. Am I spoiling it? I guess I'm not spoiling it because the events have already happened.
Yeah.
But that's how you set up as him not being the Vince McMahon. That's just gonna write him being the champion or whatever. Or you know what I mean, the promotions putting the guy behind the scenes on top.
Exactly.
That's how you do it. That's exactly how you do it. And yeah. So I think it's going to be extremely interesting to hear what CM Punk's point of view is. I'm definitely going to tune into the show. So they did what they set out to do.
That's fair.
But I guess in my mind, his return is just showing up one day. And that pop from the crowd, that would be awesome. But we're not going to get that. If he comes back, it's going to be this like he's going to be announcing or something, and then or someone's going to drag him out, and him versus like the Fiend or something would be totally dope. But I don't know. I don't know. I imagine they would have to throw a lot of money at him.
Yeah.
I would prefer. You know how like we gave Brock a lot of shit for like showing up 5 times. I would be way more interested in CM Punk because at least we would hear him every Friday on that show. That he's on.
And the thing with Brock was that he took a title away.
Right.
You know, so I mean that was I think everybody's problem with Brock was that it wasn't just him showing up and then bailing. It was him taking the main title off the show with him and it not being there. Like,
exactly.
That was the problem.
Done that now. Like, isn't he back to that? He's
a
champion, right?
Yeah, but it's on Raw and nobody cares. So
Right. Yeah, I saw they changed the Universe belts. It's blue now, right?
It's blue. Well, yeah, it's on SmackDown, so it needs to be blue.
Yeah, I thought he would do like his own like belt that's all weird.
They teased that when we saw when Bray won the WWE title a couple of years ago.
Right, and like his buddy did or not his buddy, but like he had some outside company.
Yeah, there was a design like specifically for him. Like
it looked like Evil Dead.
Yeah, it was like the Necronomicon skin and stuff, and I was like, that would be cool, and let them do something like that for the Fiend, for God's sake. Let him design his own thing. It would be awesome, and that's a character that you can totally get away with that for.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, there's a few that got their own. Like, I mean, CM Punk got his own. No.
Cena.
John Cena.
John Cena got his own.
John Cena's got his own. The Rock got his own, and Stone Cold got his own.
Stone Cold got his own.
CM Punk should totally get his own. And so would who else? Yeah, the Fiend, I guess. I don't know. The Undertaker never got one, did he?
No.
I could totally see him having one, but they never gave him one.
Yeah.
Like the T and the X and everything. I don't know. Anyway, CM Punk. It's this year has been super interesting, if nothing else.
That's fair.
Yeah. And it's been a good time. It's seeing AEW make WWE change and do different things has been great. And at the same time, they do some great stuff too. Like NXT is on fire.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Like, as much as their main roster's kind of a lot more miss than hit, there's still so much good.
Yeah.
Still at that company. So, and seeing CM Punk mixed in it's going to be interesting. I'm wondering how I don't know. He did this last week, right? So like this would be the first Friday we see him. Like on the show, right?
Tuesday. Isn't it on Tuesdays?
Oh, Tuesday. Okay. Oh wow! Hey, tomorrow then.
Yeah.
See, I haven't even seen it. I only saw the behind. I saw like on Twitter or something, and so I was like, oh okay, he's back. So I'm tuning into the next one.
Yeah. So I think Backstage is on Tuesdays. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Double.
I like that he tagged Tony Khan. Like I hope
That was
I hope
fantastic.
he gets on the show and he talks about everything in the. When you have these shows on ESPN, they don't just talk about one league. They talk about the sport.
Yeah.
And I hope that there's no. It's now that it's Fox and it's not WWE. I hope that he can talk about everything. That would be such an interesting take.
Yeah.
Because you're not hearing anything from the people who work for the WWE about AEW, and if they say something, you're always like, oh shit, don't get fired. Please don't get fired for congratulating them or whatever.
Yeah.
The only people you hear on the outside are like, like if you listen to podcasts or something, like like Jim Ross or something.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's Tuesdays 11 o'clock Fox Sports 1.
Cool. All right, there we go. I'll be watching that. What else we got to talk about? We got Mandalorian.
Yeah, we got. Yeah, we do. So, we're gonna start spoiling things from here on out.
Yes.
So, if anybody wants to go into this, I don't know how anybody who has opened any web page ever on the internet in the last week might not have already had this spoiled. But if you haven't, congratulations, more power to you. Run away now. Like, this is your one and only warning.
Go watch it. Disney Plus has a free trial membership. There's really no reason you can't watch this unless you don't have internet connection or a screen of some sort. But if you're listening to us on something, there has to be a screen attached to it. But yes, so definitely go watch this. It has been such a joy to watch these last couple of episodes.
Yeah.
Well, let's start with. I guess we'll talk about both of them together because it kind of feels like a part A, part B of it. And it feels like they honestly feel like chapters in a book.
Yes.
And, where the first one was a little bit longer, the second one was a little bit shorter. And that's really one of the only, I guess, negative I could be about it is I was hoping it would be a little bit longer, but at the same time, I understand what they're doing.
I like how they're doing it. I like this idea of they're not stretching or shortening it unnecessarily. It's like here's main plot point A to main plot point B, and it takes 35 minutes to get there, it takes 30 minutes to get there. We're telling the story at the pace of the story. And with it being their own service, they can do that. And I like that. I like that a lot.
Right. Imagining an author sitting down and going, well, I have to have 16 pages for the first chapter and for the second and for the third and for the fourth and for that would be impossible. It would be all over the place reading it. And it makes sense. Now, I guess with the third episode, we'll find out if the first one was just a long one because it was the premiere, or if the third one is, like 40 minutes or 35 or 50, we'll know that, hey, they're just exactly what you said. They're just kind of, here it is. Here's the episode. And that's really my only big, like I said, it was not negative, but like, oh man, I wish there was a little bit more to that, but I totally understand why.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I mean, we got a lot of big questions answered in this. We know it's not Boba Fett. We knew that going into it.
Yeah.
We don't know his name or anything else like that. We know that he's a foundling, and I wanted to get your opinion on it because there's kind of two ways you can look at this. Was he a Mandal? Do you think he was on Mandalore and his parents were Mandalorian, and his parents were killed by the Separatists, and then he was adopted? The Mandalorians found him and adopted him, or do you think that his parents were just whatever planet that was killed, became a foundling, and the foundlings are the orphans in the Mandalorian society, and it's kind of like it's a culture. It's not like a race thing. Like you're not born a Mandalorian. You're born into it, and you can be adopted into it. And I was wondering, do you think he's a Mandalorian, or do you think he is just adopted and that's the lifestyle
I think he's actually a Mandalorian.
See, that's what I originally thought, and it wasn't until someone talked to me and was like, they were like, I like the idea that if he's not a Mandalorian, because that's why he puts the mask on the entire time, is because in his head he feels As long as he's got that mask on, he is what he says he is.
Fair. That's an interesting point.
And if it took it, and that's why he doesn't take it off. And I thought, that's interesting. And as much shit that people give Boba Fett about not being a true Mandalorian, I like the idea that it's not your blood, that it's this warrior race is something that you can be adopted into. And I thought, when she said, we're jumping ahead, I'm so sorry, but was it the signet that she was like, has your signet been revealed?
Yeah.
I thought maybe that's like his, that's the in their culture, that's what they have to get to become a true Mandalorian.
Right. Every house has their crest, kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. It could go either way, but I think it's probably more than likely going to be what you said, that you think he was Mandalorian and his parents were killed and whatnot, and that explains the droids. Like, let's back up. Sorry. So it opens up. They're in the bar. We don't have to go through the whole thing, but I like that whole scene. It set it up as like it's a Western, and I like that it was in the cold instead of the heat, but it was still a Western, very much a Western.
Yeah.
And the man, we're back with some of the aliens from the original movies. And the guy behind the bar, I forget the actor, but I've seen him in a few things. Did you recognize Hussein in there?
Yes, I did. I love Brian Posehn.
Yeah,
he's fantastic.
Yes, yeah. And then we see the Corrin get try to escape through the door, and we see that scene where the door cuts him in half.
God, which was just, for that to happen in the first 5 minutes of the show, and
Yes.
you're just like, oh, they're going here.
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. And I like that. It looked like, oh well, he's saving this guy, but like you realize real fast, oh wait, he's doing it because he's got a bounty on his head.
Yeah.
And he puts him in the ship, and it gets a little Guardians of the Galaxy, I guess, when he starts talking. the guy he's for his bounty. But then again, Guardians of the Galaxy is a total ripoff of Star Wars, but it felt a little bit different with him. When he was like, I love that he brought up Life Day.
Yes, that was one of my favorite references. Was like, oh my god, that's canon.
That's canon. Oh yeah. Not Filoni, but who's the writer?
Favreau.
Favreau, yeah. He has talked about, he is trying to get a holiday special on Disney Plus.
I would love it. I would love it so much.
Yes, he's like, I got actors and musicians in mind. I would love to do a holiday special.
That would be awesome.
That's how you do it. That's how you respect the past and do it, and you make it good, because it could totally work on Disney Plus.
Sure.
As a holiday special, you get some funny things, and you get Donald Glover in there as Lando. You have some fun with it. And speaking of him, the guy who does the music, it's Ludwig. What's his name?
Oh yeah. You asked me too quick.
Ludwig. So we'll just say that for right now. Man, the score on this, and by the way, if you have Spotify or if you have Apple Music, any of those main music services, they're putting out a soundtrack for each episode.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so you can, it's like 12 to 20 songs or whatever. I forget the length of it, but it's just gorgeous. The music in it is so good. I love the Western feel of it. What he does with the instruments and the flutes or whatever, it's so good. Well, anyway, with Brian Posehn, I like that when he calls the first Uber, and it shows up and it's got a droid in it.
Yeah.
And he's like, no droids. And like, it makes sense because his parents and the Clone Wars, and I don't know why, I feel like such an idiot. But now it makes sense why, like in the original Star Wars movie, he doesn't want the droids in the bar.
Yeah.
Something in his past must have happened where he, with the war, where they don't trust them. And I love that world building that it does. And so he gets the second one. It comes, and by the way, funny enough, that second one, oh wait, it's the first one. One of those speeders is the speeder that Luke's talking about in the original movie.
I think it's the first one.
The first one, yeah. And he's like, that one's out, that one's replaced it or whatever. And I love those little connections. By the way, there's a ton of Easter egg videos online. Go look at them. It's got a ton of little Easter eggs that they were like, hey, we got to put this in here because the diehard fans are going to be itching for that stuff, and it's really cool. So anyway, yeah, I just thought it was interesting. He goes to the planet, drops off his bounty. We meet up with Apollo Creed,
Yeah.
and he's cheap as hell, of course.
Well, yeah.
And I like when he goes in. What did he go by? The client?
Yes, I think.
The director's name.
Oh, you want the Werner Herzog? Is that who you're looking for?
That's it. Yes. Oh yeah, and his performance is just so good.
Oh, he's fantastic.
He's amazing in it, and we get introduced to him, and the doctor stumbles in, and this is what I was wondering what you think. By the end of this episode, we find out that there are other bounty hunters after the baby, or the child, we'll call it. And in this scene, we discover that he basically gives him I forget the name of the metal, but it's basically the metal that the Mandalorians use.
Beskar.
Beskar, that's it. Yeah, and it can deflect laser, the guns in the universe, and also helps against the
and
lightsabers.
It's strong against lightsabers. Yeah.
Yes, and a full decked out Mandalorian would be like the most. Like, that's the best armor you can get. So he gets enough for just the shoulder.
Yeah.
But he's basically like, and he says, it's funny because he says the amount that he's going to get, he could give him, is the same as, the guy in Empire Strike Back that's running with the ice cream machine? I'm talking about on Cloud City when, like, they're evacuating.
Okay.
So it's been a meme forever. You probably don't know, I guess. But there's this guy running with what looks like George Lucas handing him a homemade ice cream machine making tool. And he's running through Cloud City. And to the naked eye, it just looks like a guy running with a big white thing. But anyway, this guy's like, I can give you a blank version. I forget the name of it. Amount of Beskar. Basically like a gallon, like a giant ass thing. But anyway, I thought that was funny. But yeah, anyway, so he's like, hey, I could give you enough to make an entire armor set if you bring the client back. And the doctor, and this is what I found interesting, because the doctor is very clear that he wants the baby alive, and the client is like, dead or alive is fine. Alive, you'll get more money.
Right, because he's a pragmatist. He looks at this and he goes, hey, I know how this business works. We would prefer it alive, but dead is better than nothing, basically.
Right. And at the end of the episode, you find out from IG-11 that whoever hired him was very clear to kill the baby.
Yeah, what did he say? The Federation?
Yeah,
because it's not the guild. He doesn't say the guild. He's a member of the guild, but it's not the guild that gives him that job.
And so I'm wondering, it's got to be multiple people that are out for this.
Baby. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that's what I thought. That was my theory. Is like multiple people are after this thing. The Empire, or this guy, the client, he's okay with either, but the doctor, which, have you seen any of the theories going around about the doctor?
No. What's the most prominent one?
Do you want to know? This is one of those things where some eagle-eyed person saw something in the episode that I think 99% of people won't see. And if it's true, it would be a big spoiler.
If it's in the episode to be seen and it's just that no one's noticed it, I'll take that gamble. Like, I'm all right with that. Go ahead, tell me.
I don't know, because then again, they're basically showing me an image and it looks like a Topps card every time I saw it, and it's the doctor. It's who the doctor could be working for. You want to know? Or no?
I'm gonna take a guess. Is it somebody that's been introduced in the movies?
Yes.
Okay. Is it original trilogy or new trilogy?
Prequels.
Prequels?
Yes.
Well, now isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
No, not the Kaminoans.
Ding, 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 ding.
Wow, that makes sense, though.
He's got a patch on his arm that looks like the same patches that the clones were wearing during, when they're when they're being not aged up, but when they're like learning, like,
right?
When they're we have these soldiers, and they're going through the montage
when they're being developed. So he's arguably from Kamino. Oh my god! Could you imagine? Oh my god!
Yeah, so the idea is that
That's why he wants it alive. It's easier to
alive.
clone from living tissue, and especially that. Holy shit.
Yes, so that 50 years ago would be
my
right around the time of. That's the other. There's way more theories than that. That one seems like it makes sense. But you got to think about 50 years ago is the time Anakin was born.
Yes.
So, and we know from the comics that the Palpatine manipulated the midichlorians and Anakin's mother to birth him,
Right.
or at least that it was like a vision that Anakin had, and so we don't know. It's not reliable.
Right.
It's an unreliable source because he's basically tripping balls, and so maybe it's in his head. He thinks they could spin that so many different ways.
Right.
They could totally retcon that, and it would be perfectly fine because it wasn't like a real scene, if that makes sense. But the idea behind in the comic is that the Emperor manipulated the midichlorians to birth Anakin Skywalker. At the same time, could he have put in an order to clone Yoda or Yaddle? What happened to Yaddle? That's the other thing.
Yeah.
And a clone would make sense because Yoda would be such a hypocrite if he was like, hey, you guys can't bump uglies.
Yeah.
But then again, at the same time, that's the other thing is what are the Jedi, what are their beliefs if their species is so rare and they become a Jedi? Would they be like, it's okay for you to procreate, but you can't fall in love?
Fair. It does raise some interesting philosophical questions.
Right, yeah, absolutely. And you would think they would be like, yes, for the survival of our species, let's bump uglies. We'll lose each other's numbers, even though you're on the council over there. Like, how is that going to work? You know what I mean? Like, it to me, it's interesting.
Yeah.
How are they going to, everyone says Baby Yoda, and it probably is, but could it be a clone?
That's, well, but I mean, then it would still be, then it would actually be accurate.
It would be exactly how Boba Fett is a clone of, to take it back to Jango.
Yeah.
This would be Jango and Boba Fett with Yoda. And
this is an unaltered clone and it makes it because now, because then.
Now, does this tie into the Rise of the Skywalker with the Emperor?
Possibly.
How do they get the Emperor back? Do they need the blood of Baby Yoda for the midichlorian? It opens up so many doors. And again, I don't know any spoilers. I don't know anything. This is some eagle-eyed person saw a patch on his arm when he ran into the room. And I think it's one of those things that they probably put in the episode on purpose.
That was something like that is not accidental.
Yes. Right, and I'm sure we find out soon. I mean, that actor is in a bunch of the episodes, so
yeah.
It's so interesting. We're in a time where, I know a lot of people who understandably were not a fan of the prequels, who might not have been a fan of the Disney movies, especially Last Jedi. That one's the most controversial.
Yeah.
And everyone has their own opinion. It might not feel like Star Wars to them, but I think the genuine consensus, it's hard to be negative on this because they're getting so many things right.
Yeah.
And it does, to me, it feels like Return of the Jedi. It feels like, to me, The Mandalorian is a soft reboot of Boba Fett. And they're doing it in a way where The Mandalorian is every child's imagination of Boba Fett when they're playing with their toys.
Yes, agreed.
It's when we find the second episode, he's crawling up the Jawa thing. It's like they just sat down their toys and they're like, what did you do as a kid? What did you want to see Boba Fett do in your head canon? And they're like, well, he did this and he had this adventure here and he had this job. And that's what we're seeing. Like, I loved the first episode of how much they set up. But the second one, I clapped like a little idiot in my chair.
That's fair. I'm okay with that.
When he's climbing up the Jawa thing, and I've said multiple times out loud during the first episode, this is what I wanted. Like, this is awesome. When he's crawling up that, and they're shooting him, and they're throwing rocks on him and stuff. I'm like, this is straight up Super Star Wars when you're on that level and you're going through the Jawas.
Yes.
Yeah, and then when he gets up there, they shoot him with the same thing they shoot R2 with. And he just falls right off, and he sits there. The second episode, in the first episode, you realize that they make him look like a badass, but at the same time, he's not as badass as you think. Especially in the second episode, we get to see him do the dirty work. We get to see him. We see all of his flaws, especially when he's fighting the rhino creature at the end, the mud horn or whatever.
Yeah, the thing
and
that kicks his ass.
Kicks his ass, mud all over the mask. The chest is all destroyed, and it's like you see all of his flaws out there. And he is not this perfect character. He's not. He's a badass, but he can definitely get his ass kicked. It felt a lot like Indiana Jones, especially when he was on the side of the Jawa crawler.
Yeah.
Like, and that's how Indiana Jones fights are. Like, Indiana Jones is not a badass. Like, when he fights, he's like, he gets lucky with a lot of it, but it's a lot of him stumbling around and getting his ass kicked. And we saw that in this, and I thought that was really cool. Like the scene where he's in the crawler and he's just sitting there,
and it bumps and he bangs his head on it. Yes,
yeah, it's we see him in these just positions. It doesn't look like a badass, but he gets the job done. So yeah. So anyway, first episode I thought was great, especially towards the end there with that. We didn't even get to. I'm sorry, Nick Nolte's character. Like, you know, basically any Western, this is the farmhand that helps out the hero. And I liked the idea that he was like, yeah, I'm helping you. When he asked him he's like, half, and he's like, half of what? And the creature, what were they called again? The green, not dewbacks.
Oh man, I can't remember, because it's like, it's something like oob or something. I can't remember the line, because I can remember the line. It's like, I've never ridden whatever it's called.
Yeah.
It's gonna but I know what you mean. It's that thing.
Yeah, they're from the Ewok Adventures.
God, are they really?
Oh yeah, that's where they came from. Which is interesting, because Ewok Adventures are not on Disney Plus.
Huh.
Sucks, because I think they're not on there because George Lucas said that they weren't canon. But at the same time, they should still just be on there, because it's part of that library. At this point in time, they need to stop with this. Well, if it's not canon, we can't like put it out there. Get over that. Like, put the Christmas stuff out there. Release the Christmas cut. Release the Ewok Adventures. But anyway,
the blurg.
The blurg. That's it. Yeah. We saw some, when he goes to fight the blurg, the thing beats his ass and just damages his flamethrower. But anyway, we meet Nick Nolte's character, and I thought that was a really cool, thing. And he shows back up later, but he helps him out because he's like, hey, and that's what when I was watching the first episode and I was over analyzing it, I was like, this thing's been here for a while. This client. Because he's like, this valley has not been good ever since this thing has been here.
Right.
And mercenary after mercenary come, and there's no peace in the valley. And so finally he's like, I think you can bring peace because you're a Mandalorian. I've never seen a Mandalorian. And he learns how to ride it, blah, 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 gets there. And then we meet IG-11. IG-11, I loved this. He wasn't IG-88, he's IG-11. He's just a different model. I loved that every time he thought it was the end, he was going to self-destruct.
No, stop that.
Very Indiana Jones.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, I get so many Indiana Jones vibes from it, and that's perfect because it reminds me of George Lucas. It reminds me of the fun those films had. That's what, dude. Like, I love the newer movies, and a lot of the newer movies capture that kind of aspect, but this is really doing it.
Yeah, it is.
And I think it's mostly because it has time to breathe.
Yeah.
I almost wish we got these new movies in like seasons. We would have so much more time to build the dynamic with Rey and Poe and Finn, and Kylo Ren. Like, all of these characters we're only seeing like a couple hours of every couple of years. I think it's the Mandalorian. We're just seeing we're seeing way more time with these characters. It's letting them breathe. It's letting them have a little bit of fun. And I don't think we're going to see the end of IG-11. By the end of the episode, if he finds out that the creature in this floating egg is 50 years old, but species age differently, so he looks like a baby, and obviously reminds him of himself, and he's not going to. That's, I guess, in his eyes, that's his code. He's not going to let baby get...
Yeah, he clearly has a soft spot for orphans.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And I think that was the point of the second episode. I saw a lot of people saying they felt the second episode was filler, but I don't. I mean, I could get what they're saying because you know he instead of going from point A to point B,
He gets
he had to make a
stuck.
stop.
Right, but I think that's necessary. I think that's part of it.
Yeah, it's not filler if it's character development and it's pushing the story ahead. We, you know, if it didn't happen, you would have people complaining that, well, what's the connection? I don't feel connected to the character. Why does he care about this baby? This
Exactly.
episode establishes all of that. It first of all, big big things happen in it. We find out that the baby is not just Yoda's species, but he's very force sensitive.
Yeah, he can use the Force, and while it takes a lot out of him, I mean, he stops that damn thing in its tracks and lifts it.
Exactly. We also find out that, he's not just this helpless thing. He can get out and walk, and it's the most adorable thing ever.
And he's savage because he ate that live frog whole. That thing
We've
never
never
stood
seen
a
that in
chance.
Star Wars. Absolutely. We've never seen Yoda's species eat except for when he was trying to do that little sausage thing with Luke.
Yeah.
We didn't know what they ate. Oh, dude, there was, and we also found out that the Mandalorian, along with Nick Nolte's character, has no idea what the Force is.
That I thought was great because I kept thinking, I was like, okay, and where's the reveal of like, oh yeah, I know the stories, I've heard about the Jedi, this and that, and instead he's just going, I've got no idea.
Yeah, and this goes back to the original one where Han Solo is like, he's heard of the Force, but he believes it's all a bunch of mumbo jumbo. And, a lot of people make that, well, how can someone who's that age in the Star Wars universe not remember something that happened so long ago? But you gotta remember the Jedi were very limited number, and this is a universe. It's not a planet.
Yeah.
Like on the planet, we all, but at the same, if you think about it, on the planet, you're how old now? You only know of the Berlin Wall because of either history books or you lived in that area or your relatives.
Right.
Right? None of us lived through that. Or my age, I guess, we were babies at the time. If you're my age, if you're a little bit older, then you remember seeing that maybe on the news or something like that, or you were there. You lived through it. And I think we all have relatives probably that date back to some war, and it's word of mouth. And so you have to imagine in this universe of all of these planets, the Jedi, if you've never seen one, you would think it's make-believe. And it goes back to Rey going, I thought Luke Skywalker was a myth. And on top of that, the propaganda machine that the Emperor would put out are that the Jedi were bad, and they turned on me, and they turned on the Republic or whatever, and now that's why he had to create the Galactic Empire. So it makes sense. It makes sense why he hates droids. It makes sense why he doesn't know of the Force because he's never seen it. It's such a rare thing in the universe, and that's why I think a lot of people like this time frame. When the prequels, where it's all over the place, you getting Jedi flying and doing flips, and it's great for us when we were kids. But I imagine for adults, when it's a little bit more of a mystery and a little bit more used sparingly, it's better story-wise. And I couldn't agree more. And we see the Force happen in the second episode, but it's like, what is this thing? He has no idea, and it's such a cool part of the story, and that's why I don't believe it's filler at all. I totally understand why you're saying he had to get to a ship and this other side adventure happened, but it was totally worth it.
Yeah, because there was progression. Filler is just like, hey, we're here in this town, the story hasn't progressed any, and like, what did they do? Well, they went to the beach and they laid in the sun, and this side adventure happened, which will never be mentioned or talked about again. Filler episodes, by their nature, are things
that Goku and Piccolo go shopping.
Right. It's like nobody cares that never happened. You can cut out most of Snake Way from Dragon Ball Z, and it doesn't matter at all.
You couldn't cut this out because we discover Yoda, or I'm just calling Baby Yoda, even though we don't know what he is, or she. We learn the Force and all that through him, and his character, we are way more attached to a man in a mask that is insane to think about, than ever now, because we see all of his flaws. They're all laid bare. He's to me, he just feels like Indiana Jones, and I don't know where it's going. By the end of the episode, he gets all the stuff barks, gets everything back for a ship. Nick Nolte's character is like, hey, no, I've lived a life of servitude. What does he call it? Servitude?
He's like, I'm here now and free. I've just I've just gotten out of a life of servitude.
Right, right. And so he's like, as much as he's like, I appreciate you asking me to part of your crew, I'm going to respectfully decline. I thought that was great. And that, who knows,
Yeah.
we might see his character again. That's the most character I've seen Ugnaught or like any side. That's the thing, is you can take a random species from these movies and you can give them that much character. That is awesome.
Yeah.
It is I have spoken. I feel like that's going to be shared that's going to be one of the things people remember in Star Wars. I have spoken.
Yeah.
Is one of the catchphrases. They're really doing great things with this. We talked about before the Mandalorian came out, like how excited we were that we're going to get a serialized television show where each week. Oh, I just said Siri. My phone went off. Sorry. Yeah, that we're gonna get these week to week episodes. I'm looking forward to Obi-Wan. This is where the next few years of Star Wars is gonna live, and I couldn't be happier. I couldn't be happier. I really tried to find things that I didn't like about it, and I couldn't tell you one of them. Even the goofy moments, and I loved the symbolism in this. When like the idea behind this episode is that they steal his stuff, the Jawas, and dude, every moment of the Jawa stuff, I was cheering like a little fucking idiot. Like I felt like such a kid.
Yeah.
Because I was like, we've only scratched the surface of these Jawa creatures, and these are like off-world Javas. If we don't even know where planet he's on, it looks kind of like Tatooine, but it's I don't think it is. But we get to see inside of their. We get to. I guess we did before, but this was more of. It just felt different. I don't know it. So anyway, they steal his parts. He's got to go get this egg for them, or at first they're like, hey, we'll take your shoulder pad or whatever. He's like, no, I'm not going to do that. I love the little mentions of Mandalorian where he was like, you need to leave your gun. He was like, this gun is a part of my religion.
Yeah.
I thought that was a cool, like, I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that in like Clone Wars or anything, but it makes sense.
A little bit in Rebels.
Oh, okay.
Because
I gotta go back and rewatch.
They do a lot of Mandalore in Rebels, which I thought was really nice.
You know what was interesting? I watched this with a friend. I also watched this. I told my like my mom to watch this. Told a couple friends to watch it. That people who weren't into Star Wars, and they totally they understand what's happening without having to know all the little minute stuff.
Right, because it doesn't delve into, everybody recognizes Yoda, so they're like, oh, that's a thing like him or whatever. Oh, and it uses the Force. Okay, we know that. They don't need to know the backstory of Mandalore and all that kind of stuff. Like, I mean, it's great for us, but you can just sit down and be like, okay, dude's a bounty hunter. Got it. He gets the big job. Got it. It gets wrapped up in something, and you find out, because of these little cutscenes, you're like, oh, he was an orphan. This thing is an orphan. There's a bond. Got it. Yeah. Like, the themes work. The themes draw you in.
Yeah. Totally. Absolutely. Yeah. And that's what I explained to especially my mom, because my mom loves Westerns. I was like, this is a story about a bounty hunter. You know what that is. And he has, he's a target that he can either capture dead or alive that's 50 years old. And she totally got it. She's seen the original movies back when they came out. She saw the prequels. But, to most people who are not obsessed with Star Wars like we are, it's in and then it's out. And then they move on and they don't think about it. She totally understood it. Even like my friend who she hates Star Wars, totally got it. Was like, oh, I get this. Yeah. I get this now. This makes sense to me. She's like, I don't know what any of these creatures are or anything, but they're aliens. She totally got it from head to toe. He needs to protect this baby, because as soon as you see it's a baby, and she knows Yoda. That's the thing, is like, even if you don't even see a Star Wars movie, you know what R2-D2 looks like. You know what Yoda looks like. You know what a Jedi Skywalker looks like.
Yeah.
And Darth Vader. Outside of that, it's probably going to get like mushy. You don't have no idea what, or gray, what anything is, but those are the iconic things that everyone knows.
Yeah.
It's like a kid who's never seen Superman cartoon, but they know the image of Superman.
Right.
So anyway, and that's what I liked about this, is the imagery in the second one, where you could tell that, he's carrying around this Yoda that's in like an egg-like thing, and he has to go get this egg for the Jawas, and he gives it to the Jawas, and the first thing they do is cut the top bar and eat the insides like crazy monster people.
Yeah.
I love that. That was goofy as shit. That was totally like, what is happening in this scene? I thought they were gonna sell it. Like, oh, hey, here's this really expensive hairy egg, and we're gonna sell it. But no, they cut it open, eat it immediately, and I could tell, oh, that's what they're trying to show us, is that the second he gets this baby to the client, they're gonna tear it apart.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a fantastic metaphor.
Exactly. And that pushes everything forward. This is how you do it. And that's how you do storytelling for all audiences. You know, I would say Watchmen does it way better, but it's way more adult, way more like you have to pay attention.
Yeah.
You can get way more confused with Watchmen than you can with this. This is like everyone can kind of get that imagery. I thought it was great. I loved it. I have no idea where it's going to go from here. I think there's 8 episodes. It's going to be every Friday except for the Friday that the Rise of Skywalker comes out, which makes sense.
Sure.
And I'm wondering if any of this ties into it. I doubt it. I doubt we see the Mandalorian in it. I doubt we see this Baby Yoda in it, but who knows?
We're not going to have any significant crossover. You're not going to miss anything. It's not going to take away from this movie if you haven't seen this yet.
Exactly, but I will say this: if they include anything, I will clap like an idiot.
If they will, that's what I mean. They'll add a little touch of something, but it's gonna be it's gonna be like a hey. If you saw The Mandalorian, you get this reference that's completely inconsequential. You know,
right, exactly. Yeah, and that man, that would be something else.
Yeah,
that would be fantastic. Doubt it will do it, but who knows? I mean, it's right there, and then the season finale is the episode after the movie comes out.
Interesting.
So it would be it's an interesting time to be a Star Wars fan. I love the love from it. I love the positivity. Now, if you've been on YouTube in the last however many years, or actually if you've just been a person, you know that negative videos, negative stories, if it bleeds, it leads, is the phrase the newspaper used, and that's why fan bases have started doing that. Like if you can't, and don't get me wrong, you can totally criticize Star Wars, Game of Thrones, Pokemon, all these Ghostbusters, the DC universe. There's totally room to be critical and to be like, hey, that's not good, or that's great, or whatever. But recently I've noticed, and I watched a few of these, even a few YouTube creators have come out and admitted to it. They have put out way more negative videos because that's what garnered the clicks.
That's what gets views.
Exactly. And even like one of the YouTubers apologized for it. He's like, look, I saw that my videos, if I put a negative thing or clickbait in the title, you got the videos doubled or tripled in views, where instead of getting 50,000 views, I was getting 200,000 views. I was getting 500,000 views. And it's gross to me. There's a few YouTubers out there that I still follow, like, for example, Star Wars Explained. If you're a big Star Wars fan, he's critical, but at the same time, he doesn't dwell in it at all. He would rather talk about something that gives him joy than anything, and I love his videos. And a lot of them are short, but he does a Q&A every week, him and his wife, Molly. They're great. That's a great YouTube channel to follow. So it's nice my point is, it's nice to see something in the Star Wars universe where it's universally loved, where there's not a bunch of people throwing shit across. It's nice that people are positive about it again. And it's not this controversial thing or whatever, and I couldn't be happier. That might all change with Rise of Skywalker. We'll find out.
Oh,
but
it
right
will.
Now, oh yeah. Right now it's in a good place, and I hope that in the next few years we'll be getting the TV show, and I hope it stays in a good place, and I hope we get a little bit more hungry for let's get a movie. Like, it's been a couple of years, let's get a movie out there. I'm interested in seeing what's coming forward. So
yeah,
I don't know, but I think that's about it.
Because we talked about Ford vs Ferrari. Did you get around to seeing Dr. Sleep at any point?
I have not. No, unfortunately.
You should. It's so good. It is so very good. And I'll tell you what else is good. What else is very good is Jojo Rabbit.
Oh yeah. I heard it is.
It is a fantastic, and I know people are upset because they're like, well, it makes Nazis look like regular people and it humanizes them, and it does, but not in a sympathetic way.
From what I understand, it humanizes the German people, not necessarily Nazis.
Yes, and it's very much, and it's also like it's set during the last year and change of the war. So
Right.
it's more like, can you believe these guys? It's so propaganda heavy, but it's displayed as it is absurd that this was still the message going out, because clearly, like every actual Nazi that's in the movie is talking about how great everything is, and they're getting ready to crush the Russians, and then they're going to turn around and they're going to chase the Americans out, and you're just like, we can see the deterioration of the town throughout the film. So we know you're full of crap, but it's also really funny. It's satire done fantastically well, and they set up little visual cues throughout the whole movie, things you get used to. And you see this couple of things all the time, and there's one in particular, and it's a giant spoiler, so I'm not going to do it. But there's one you get used to because they show it all the time, and it doesn't seem like anything until this film decides to take an immediate... When it goes from satire to drama, it is a 90-degree turn. It is a sharp slap in the face, everybody shut up kind of moment. And it's done because of what's set up in earlier in the film. It's like, oh, I've seen this thing, and it's happy and it's cheerful and it's all this. And then one time when they show it is when you see this again in the context of, oh my God, and it's magnificently done.
Oh yeah,
and it is so good.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I want to see that. I went to brunch with some family members, and I was telling them about movies I want to see, and I brought that one up, and it was one of those like, how do I form this without them immediately getting turned off? Because I mean, I have people in my family who they passed away, but they lived through that. They escaped Germany.
Yeah.
During all of that, and it's a touchy subject because they know so much loss because of that war, and lost everything, their homes, all that stuff. And so I was trying to explain this movie, but they loved the idea, and I only went off of what I saw in the trailer, and I was like, it's when I understood it was about this kid who his world is just everything he's been taught, he realizes, oh, they're fucking bad guys.
Yeah.
They're terrible. And I seen the trailer, and in the trailer they show why. They show what his mother is doing and everything. And that's such an interesting story. And I explained how and I think they set this up in the trailer. It's very clear that his imaginary friend is Adolf Hitler, or a version of him or whatever. And I told him, I was like, because I did see this article where Taika Waititi was like, I couldn't get anyone to play that role, so I just did it myself.
Yeah, that's fair.
And it's one of those where it's like, it's such an interest. It's so different. It's such a different story that I absolutely want to see that.
Yeah, it's really good. It is fantastic satire. It really is. And then when it decides what when you've got to the third act, because it's like, and now we have to be serious. And it is a brutal 90-degree left turn to get there. And it's immediate. It is an instant, sharp, just a moment. And you watch it and you go, oh shit.
Good. And that's what I like to hear.
Yeah, because I watched it, the group that I work with that I watched it with, we were laughing, joking, having a good time because it's a good movie. And then immediately we all shut up. Instantly, it was just like, and everything got quiet. It's but it's so good. It's so damn good.
That's good. Oh yeah, absolutely. That's what I like to hear.
Right.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So that would definitely be the one I'd go see.
Yeah. That was really good. Yeah. If it's playing nearby, definitely go check it out. You're not.
It is. I got the AMC app. I had it on my thing. It actually dinged on me. We were going somewhere, and I was like, "Oh crap! I was supposed to go see this movie, but oh well." My plans got all flip flops. So.
Yeah. But yeah, find it, check it out. You're probably not going to have a whole lot of a crowd in there.
No.
But it's definitely worth checking out for sure. That, Dr. Sleep, Ford vs. Ferrari, all very, very good. And very different kinds of good, too. So you've got, if you want, the the suspense thriller kind of horror leaning movie, you've got Doctor Sleep. If you want something that's a little more lighthearted, I'll go with. Weird as it is, you've got Jojo Rabbit. And if you want just like that, like biopic-ish kind of movie, then you've got Ford vs Ferrari. Like it's a good drama. Like it's very, very good.
Awesome. Well, cool. I think that's it. Yeah. I think there's much more. I think hopefully we nailed down good time for us to talk. So we'll be back next week.
Yeah. Depending on things, my schedule may change. So we'll see.
Yeah. So no worries. We'll keep you updated on the Facebook group. So yeah, make sure you go to our Facebook group, We Geek Podcast, Twitter @ We Geek Podcast, at the Logan Witt, at Adam Estep, YouTube channel, We Geek Podcast. We're on Spotify, Apple Music, basically all the major podcast places. We'll have more Mandalorian to talk about. Maybe next week we talk about Watchmen up to, maybe, I don't know if you can catch up by then with the episodes, but I would love to talk about Watchmen, or at least maybe the first 3 or 4 episodes, because I think there are 9 of them. So it'd be cool to kind of break those down.
Yeah.
Because to me, as much as I love The Mandalorian, and I'm having so much fun with that, Watchmen is just such a treat week to week, and every episode is very different. That's the other thing I didn't mention. Mandalorian, apparently, like, different directors on each episode, which is really cool.
Yeah, because Favreau, I think, directed the premiere. Rick Famuyiwa from Dope directed the 2nd episode, so that's neat.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Dave Filoni does, like, the 5th or something.
Yeah.
Which I'm interested in.
But I'm curious to see, because doesn't Bryce Dallas Howard direct an episode, I think?
She does, yep.
Awesome.
She might direct the 3rd one. If there was only a way to find out.
If only there was some kind of machine or something that was hooked up to this kind of database of literally the entirety of human knowledge.
I'm always so afraid to go on here because I don't want to see any spoilers, but let's do episode 3, directed by Deborah Chow, which, isn't she doing...
She's doing,
Obi-Wan.
What?
Isn't she doing the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, or no?
Is that the one she's doing?
Yes. Yeah, she's the director for the Obi-Wan Kenobi series.
Interesting.
Yeah.
There was something else. I saw her name attached to something else, I thought.
Okay, so she's also doing The Possibility of Fireflies. Okay. She did an episode of American Gods. She did an episode of Man in the High Castle. She did an episode of Better Call Saul. An episode of Snowfall. Lost in Space. Jessica's... She's done an episode of all these great television shows.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah. And I think she does 2 in The Mandalorian, and I guess they liked her so much, she does chapter 3 and chapter 7.
Awesome.
I love how they're calling me a chapter. These is like a book. So I think I assume what happened is they liked her so much, they're like, let's get you on Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
And that's good. We got some female directors on here. That's a good thing.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the next episode, we will get... we'll get if you haven't seen these one-off episodes of these other shows, at least this next one you'll kind of get an idea of her style, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is neat. So
and we had I'm looking forward. I forgot that the 2nd episode of The World According to Jeff Goldblum came out too, because I'm sorry, but Sneakers was such a fantastic episode.
Oh, it was. He goes to Ohio.
And it's like this opens at SneakerCon. I'm like, the hell? Of course there's a SneakerCon, but you don't think about it. And then it's like, oh yeah, by the way, these guys are, debating over like 18,000 for these shoes or whatever. And I'm like, are you what? Like, yeah. But I love the dude's explanation though. When he was like, why are all these important? And he said, think about baseball cards.
Yeah.
And I was just like, duh. Wow. Yeah. Actually, it's like, why is anything valuable? It's valuable because people or things say it's valuable, and collectors say they're valuable, so they're valuable. But
absolutely, yeah. And you're absolutely right. He goes into these worlds, and we have them too. I mean, we're big nerds. Like, our world that we get obsessed with, you go ask some random person off the street anything about it, they'll have no idea because they don't know that world exists.
Right.
Or that, like, they know it does, maybe like I've seen people share that on Facebook posts, but they don't know how massive it is. And and he's like popping in and out of these little like subgroups of people.
Right.
And it's awesome. The second one is about ice cream.
It's ice cream. It's like that's exact when I'm like I'm gonna edit this and watch that.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. I'm gonna go watch the Imagineering because I started watching that and I was like, it's just amazing behind the scenes on the parks.
It's so good. I've made it through. I've gone through both of those so far, and it's so good. Wait until you get to the part in the second one when they talk about Tokyo Land Disney.
Oh, awesome!
It's hysterical.
Okay.
It's killer, and it explains a lot about why it is what it is.
Yeah, see, I gotta do that. My problem with Disney Plus is I'll start watching it, and then like we put on like Aladdin, and then we're singing like idiots, or I put on Star Wars for the millionth time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the other thing we didn't talk about. McClunky.
Goddamn McClunky.
McClunky, or yeah.
Here's the weird thing though. I feel like I have heard that from somewhere before.
I know, this is the Bernstein Bears all over again.
It is, because as soon as I saw it, they were like, they added something, and so I checked it out, and he goes, McClunky. And I was like, I've heard this before. I don't know where, but I've heard this before, and I feel like it's not anything of relevance, but I feel like it was in an old video game or something. Like, they stuck it in somewhere as, like, it strikes me as the kind of thing that's like, if you put in a cheat code in one of the old Star Wars games somewhere, that's the noise that you would hear.
You're right.
Something like that. I feel like I have heard this, not in any kind of context at all, but like this was stuck in somewhere before.
Right, it's like if you typed in, what was the cheat code? Oh, there were a bunch of cheat codes in Shadows of the Empire.
Yeah.
It sounds like a cheat code you'd put in there.
Yeah, or it's like whenever, because I love like old video games, like you'd pause it and you'd put in a cheat code and there'd be a sound effect or something.
Yeah, like glittering prizes for Warcraft 2 to get all the gold.
Yeah.
Or Wampa Stompa for that.
Yeah, that was Shadows of the Empire. Yeah.
Shadows of the Empire. McClunky. Yeah, no, and I guess the story behind it is that George was working on, because they did the 3D for Phantom Menace, and his plan was to release all of his movies in 3D for 6 years.
Yeah.
But I forgot what happened. But after
nobody
Phantom Menace,
nobody went to see it. That was what happened.
Yeah. Start with that one, yeah. Maybe if you started with The New Hope, some people would have went and saw it, but
maybe.
But I mean, the Phantom Menace does lend itself better to 3D because of the pod racing and
agreed.
stuff. I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no one went and saw it, and then of course sold Disney, and then nothing came of it. But apparently he recut the scene for that, and so that was the 4K upres that he had that they were going to release for the eventual Blu-ray 4K copy. And so Disney took that because it was already upres to 4K.
What I want is the damn unedited cut.
Well, here's the thing. This is like the fourth. There's been so many alterations at this point.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. The theoretical, because as soon as it hit VHS, it's a different version already.
Yeah. But
especially with he added A New Hope and a few other things. I totally get what you're saying. I agree. There should be a little button on the side of these movies that say special. You have the one that you have now. You have the special edition, and you have the original theoretical version.
Right, because Disney now owns all of them.
Exactly. But I also think a part of, who knows? I know that Kathleen Kennedy has said we're releasing George Lucas's vision as he wants it. Now, who knows what happens? Who knows if that changes? I think they would get so many fans behind them if they were like, now you have the option to watch all of them.
Yes, I like that idea. Make it an option. You can have it because there's so many versions, and to say you can have it all these different ways.
Exactly.
You can have it. Yeah. Because then you have something for everyone, and I'm okay with that. I don't want specifically just one.
Right.
I don't want there to be a defined, it goes like this.
Well, that's the thing. It wouldn't be as such big of a deal if everyone was be able to choose their flavor. But when you take everything off the menu and you say, well, I know you guys had chocolate from now on, but now everyone just has strawberry and you have to live with it because that's my original vision. It's like, well, wait a second. I love chocolate.
Yeah.
If you were like, well, you know what? Now we got 12 flavors. Enjoy.
Right.
Okay. Everyone's happy because we all get to pick our own flavor. that's how you do it. George Lucas is allowed to do whatever he was wanting to do with his films.
Right.
But I completely agree. There should just be an option there. You get now the 4K, great, whatever. You get the original, and you get the A New Hope, or I'm sorry, the special editions. Maybe upres to 4K. That'd be cool too. Have them all upres to 4K, but keep the original. Like Han Solo doesn't step on on Jabba's tail, and you don't see Boba Fett in the original one, and all the little things that they added. It's like, hey, this is what it originally looked like, and this is what made people. And you still pay respect to the people that originally worked on it,
right?
The props and everything else. I think even one of the people who worked at Lucasfilm tweeted out when Disney Plus came out, like, hey, people, hold on to your physical media. And it was because of that line that they added. They were like, all of this is changing. Hold on to your physical media as you can. And I agree. If you really love something, get the physical media version of it. That's what I have. I have Star Wars, Lord of the Rings. I have all the big stuff still on physical media.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And because these kind of things can happen. I mean, they edited. Is Boba Fett even the same voice in the new ones? Did they keep his voice?
No, I think they went with the second one.
Yeah, okay. And so and like, you got Hayden Christensen. I'm pretty sure he's at the end of the A New Hope in the new ones.
Return of the Jedi.
Return. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, Return. Yeah, that would be a twist. But he's in. Yeah, because he wasn't in the special edition version, but he was in the Blu-ray versions.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's wild, but
when you look at it, I don't like it because it conjures up a lot of bad ideas, but it makes sense that would be the version you'd see.
Sure.
It does. From a canon standpoint, you would think he would go back to before he was Darth Vader.
Right.
It makes sense. I don't like it, but it makes sense.
Yeah, no, it absolutely. And it's one of those things where I know even like Spielberg has said, or maybe it was George Lucas too, that they regret doing that for E.T., taking the guns out of their hands, because they're like, to run around with the walkie-talkies, they got trigger happy.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to make a joke there, but like they literally, they're like, we jumped on that. We shouldn't have. And I think a lot of people feel the same way about Star Wars. Like, hey, here's this thing we obsessed over, and you made it different because you could, instead of thinking should you.
Yeah.
But yeah. But anyway, I thought that was an interesting little thing, and it's funny how people reacted to it because it was almost like, of course they did.
Yeah, basically, that was kind of it
was a joke.
It was the reaction wasn't like, oh my god, this is horrible and terrible. It was just kind of like, oh, of course.
Yeah, it was like, I saw articles that were like, the guy who played Greedo is just as confused as the new scene changes you are. Man, I never even thought about this. Does George Lucas have a book? I'd love to read one of, like, I hope, he's definitely getting up there in years. I hope that he's right. I hope that he comes out with something that explains. I just want to hear his, we've heard his side in like interviews and behind the scenes stuff, but like, I'd love to read a book, like an autobiography of him.
Yeah. I think the closest we're going to have so far is, what is it? Building an Empire, which is also on Disney Plus now.
Yep. Seen that. I love that. I can't get enough of it. That's why I'm saying, like, I hope that, eventually they're going to make a movie about him. That's going to be interesting. That whole Rat Pack, they all deserve their own film. Every single one of them. Well, not the Rat Pack. The Brat Pack. What are they called?
Well, the Brat Pack was like Rob Lowe and
not Brat Pack.
Yeah.
Oh, God. What do they call themselves then? Those group of filmmakers. Steven Spielberg. George Lucas.
I'm not sure, but I know who. Yeah.
If only we could look this up.
I know, right? Imagine if we had a device that was connected to this.
Francis Ford Coppola.
Yeah, it was that whole school, like, at the turn of that. It really was a shift in movies at that point.
Oh, totally. They all deserve. They all deserve their own movie because just the way they changed Hollywood.
Yeah.
What's his face? We just talked about him.
Scorsese.
The Irishman movie.
Scorsese, yeah.
Scorsese, and I think that's it. I think those were the main ones. Those four.
Yeah.
Or those 4 or 5. Yeah, those 4 or 5. Yeah. They need their own film, or dude, I would take a TV series.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it would be four. Yeah, it'd be the four of them. They were called something related to the Rat Pack because everyone is, if you're a group in Hollywood or whatever these days.
Probably. But yeah, I remember because the Brat Pack was like Rob Lowe and Tom Cruise and Charlie Sheen and like that. If I remember right, I think. Like it was a group of actors. It was basically like everybody in The Outsiders.
Yeah. Exactly. The movie Brats is what they're called.
Oh, okay.
That's why I said Brat Pack.
Okay.
Yeah, the movie Brats.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
Totally makes sense. Yeah. But yeah, and it's funny. It's funny hearing Martin Scorsese's opinion with George Lucas and Spielberg because, I imagine a lot of people back in the day got upset with Star Wars, got upset with Jaws, got upset with those kind of movies because they weren't films to them.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. But anyway, we've gone on and we've talked about where you can see us. So we'll see you guys next week.
Sounds
Captain.
good, Captain.